nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can change the focus to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
Hello, I'm Mark Sargent, and this is Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. And with me is the show host, still waiting to get on camera, Patricia Steere.
Hello, I'm on camera, ready to go. How are you, Mark?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. We've got a good show. We've got a couple of special guests that are coming in to join us just to talk about all that's going on. We really have reached the outer limits lately, don't you think?
Oh, it is. A lot can change in a week. What? In fact, a lot can change in a couple of days, but 1 week, and here we are talking about stuff that I didn't think we'd be talking about for months. So, oh, by the way, like your shirt.
Thank you. It's a Jean-Michel, probably saying it wrong, Basquiat. He is a artist, and it's just little drawings that he has done. He didn't draw them on this shirt. It's a shirt that you can buy, but that's who this is. So.
Cool. And you have what you got there? Rings to match?
Well, they don't really match. They're just crazy rings. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Kind of cool.
Decorative. Thank you.
Like it.
And a sparkly beret. So why? Because I have this stuff. Might as well put it to good use and wear it.
Yeah.
Here on the Flat Earth, we can have fun and wear crazy clothes.
I'm wearing, because I now get Flat Earth t-shirts pretty much every week from people in the Flat Earth community. So I got this one from the Flat Earth Cable Company, and it says "Space, the Final Frontier, still."
I love that shirt. You sent me one too, and
Yeah.
I'll show mine right here. And it is NASA, National Academy of Space Actors, and there it is.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So thank you to Dan who sent that to us, and in Waterloo, Ontario, Dan Stowski from the Flat Earth Cable Company.
Yep. Thanks, Dan.
So I wore mine yesterday, and Mark, we did a hangout, and you did see me wearing this, correct?
I did see you wearing this. I can verify. Okay. I can endorse this product and or event.
All right. So we'll have some special guests joining us whenever they feel like popping in. We're going to be talking about the rapper B.O.B. We're going to be talking about the way mainstream media is handling all the Flat Earth stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
And we're going to take Q&A. I don't even know why I have my glasses on right now, because I don't need them till I have to read something.
Yeah.
And pretty much that's it. Now, you can go into YouTube and check how many hits are that say Flat Earth, and there's a different number every day. Yeah. And the number of hits doesn't mean it's pro-Flat Earth, of course.
No, it just
doesn't mean it's anti-Flat Earth. It just means Flat Earth is the topic. So what number are we at now?
3.6 million, which is way ahead of schedule, in my opinion. Because remember, I said that it would go to 5 by...
Wasn't that our New Year's prediction?
That it was going to go to 5 in 2016, and at this rate, it's going to hit 5 in the spring.
Yeah.
And it may be faster because it's only been 48, 72 hours since this whole B.O.B. thing. By the way, you probably can't see it that well on the screen. It's not the great picture. We don't have a high-res version of that yet, but that's the album cover or the song cover right there on my screen, which is Flatline. So do you want to break down what happened, or
I'll let you break it down.
Okay.
Break it down. Perfect for
talking about
B.O.B. And that's a great song. And his lyrics in all of his songs are good. And I was reading the lyrics to the songs just to get the full impact. When you hear things, you might mishear them in a song. And so I was on the phone with Jesse Spots, and we were reading through the lyrics and saying, wow.
The lyrics are good. And what I talked about on Strange World last night, if you're in the Flat Earth community and you've been living under a rock for the last couple of days, Grammy nominated, I don't know what year he was nominated, Grammy nominated rapper B.O.B. What is his full name? Billy Ray, I can't remember. Somebody look it up and put it in chat. But B.O.B. came out with a song, basically a Flat Earth song, attacking Neil deGrasse Tyson and the Department of Defense and NASA, and released it for free on the internet, called Flatline. And it was really, really interesting because when I saw it, I didn't understand the title. You know, everybody knows that Flatline is usually tied to the hospital, to the health industry, which is when your heartbeat stops, the EKG meter goes flat, and that's why they call it Flatline. But what he was referring to was this over here, which is the horizon line, which is why you put Flatline along the horizon, which means that the horizon is always flat, even though when you go very, very high. But the song was amazing because, you know, it's a cool track. It sounds good. He that overlaying tone he's got in there. I was listening to it again this morning. Kind of sounds kind of X-Files-ish, you know, sort of from the X-Files. And which is, again, coincidence that the X-Files has this resurgence and they're doing that 6-part miniseries.
I know. All of the stuff is
Yeah.
like the show start, The Outer Limits. It's blowing my mind.
Yeah, yeah. What was weird though was, okay, so he makes the song and there's like a minute section of the song, and we all know this part, and that is when Neil deGrasse Tyson is talking at that university where he's saying that the Earth isn't a perfect sphere, it's a oblate spheroid, and it's sort of pear-shaped. And he actually uses that track. I didn't know if he needed his permission or not. Probably not, since it's all over the internet anyway. And then he puts it out there, and then he goes on a Twitter rant, tequila style, and starts lashing out at all these people. And, you know, the media picked up on it pretty quick.
But unlike Tequila, some of Tila's stuff was solid, but B.O.B. stuff was very solid. And he highlighted Eric Dubay. He wasn't really saying too much, like, look at my boobs mixed in.
No, he was, you could tell, you know, he had an attitude about him, and it was really, really great. What was interesting, though, was that less than 12 hours later, Neil deGrasse Tyson tweeted back. And these two exchanged a series of tweets, which was so strange because remember what I said, he didn't have to do that on the internet. He could have called him, he could have emailed him, his producer could have called their producer, so on and so on. They did not have to, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson did not have to address this on air, but he did. Not only did he address it on air, but then his nephew, I believe his name is Steven Tyson, if I'm not mistaken. Steven is, oh no, we gotta go all out on this one. And so he created his own rap song really, really quickly. And Neil added some, not lyrics, but, you know, he just talked and used some, it sounded like you read some of his tweets. And it was called Flat to Fact, I believe. And so all of a sudden you've got literally a rap battle happening between the world's most popular physicist and a Grammy nominated rapper. It all happening within 24, 48 hours. And if you think mainstream media was going to ignore that, oh, you are kidding yourself, because it got, I mean, I can't even begin to list off all the media outlets that covered it, because it's basically all of them. You want a better list, find me a media outlet that didn't cover it. I mean, the New York Times, Time Magazine, USA Today, People Magazine, ABC, NBC, Fox, it just went, MTV, VH1, it just went on and on and on. Everybody covered it because it was so interesting. I had a friend, I didn't tell you this, I had a friend call me, a clinical psychologist out of Indiana. She calls me last night, like 10 minutes before the show. And she goes, I'm at a wine bar with some friends. And, you know, these are all scientists, you know, doctors, psychologists. And she goes, you're never going to guess what I'm looking at. I go, I don't know. She goes, it's on NPR. I bet you can guess. And I go, oh, the rapper thing. She goes, do you have anything to do with it? I go, oh, yeah. But the movement has a lot to do with what he's doing. Yeah.
And you've talked about her before. This is an ex-girlfriend of yours who wasn't really down with flat Earth.
She was definitely not down with it.
And the funny thing is that now she's seeing it everywhere. And I mean, she knew you as a person, you know, obviously like anybody in a relationship does, but probably thought you were a bit crazy. And now she's seeing this and is probably thinking, wow, maybe he was right.
Well, not
nice
yet.
Revenge there.
Well, no. I don't mind. I mean, honestly, when you have that much schooling, you're going to be, you know, you're going to have the scientific doctrine behind you, and you're going to be very skeptical. So I didn't blame her, not at all. But she did congratulate me for, you know, at least getting the media coverage, because most people don't know that when you're published as an academic, you really, the publishing part of it, that's one thing, but you really want to be interviewed. And, you know, it's tough because you have to solicit, you know, you have to throw your stuff out there to be interviewed. And, you know, she was really amazed that this thing is getting so much traction. So, yeah, it's crazy. Again, if you type in Flat Earth now into any search engine, I don't care what it is, and just hit the news section, what is it? The first 60, 80 articles are all this rap battle between Neil deGrasse Tyson, who shouldn't even be talking about this, and a Grammy-nominated rapper, which is incredible. It's amazing. It's just blowing my mind to see it happen like this. But I called it. So
part of what I'm thinking is that it's possible that rapper B.O.B. is part of a control, and he has been put in place to do this probably for quite some time. This has been building up, that he was going to be maybe sent in to throw Flat Earth under the bus in some way by making it seem ridiculous. Part of me thinks that, because some of the things that are mentioned are, cloning, reptilians, Hitler, Stalin, and I'm not saying that all of those things are bad in and of themselves. I'm just saying that many people in mainstream who don't really have the back knowledge about the Holocaust, like most of us in Flat Earth do, or haven't even heard of cloning, whether or not you believe in it.
Yeah.
People in Flat Earth know that many people who are smart believe in it. So I'm not putting any judgment on these things, but putting it Flat Earth in with all that other stuff. And then some people will also say, just because he's a rapper and was nominated for a Grammy and is wealthy, that sort of thing makes him not credible. And it's just a way to undo us. But when I listen to him and listen to his lyrics, and I've listened to interviews and watched him, he would have to be an amazing, amazing actor. But I guess the government can pay for that sort of stuff if they wanted to.
Yeah, this is, again, you and I talked about this last year, and of course, the topic is being allowed to circulate. So don't think for a second that they're going to allow every major media outlet to let this topic get out there and then turn it and say, oh, by the way, it was a complete hoax. Flat Earth is just nothing. There's nothing to look at, because you've exposed so many people to it that the exposure alone is carrying the movement way further than it would have been if it was just circulating in YouTube videos. In fact, I've had phone calls today, just today, people saying, I found your stuff because I saw, and they kept saying the same thing, that a rapper talked about it. And then I got into it and, started doing searches on the web, and I found your stuff. So yeah, this thing is getting a lot of exposure. Now, is it part of something much, much bigger, and are they allowing it to happen? Of course. Of course, you don't remember the main rule of conspiracy, and that is, if it is in the mainstream media, there is an ulterior motive, no question. Is it part of a bigger psyop? If it is, we you and I have taken shots at what it could possibly be, what's coming down the road. But this part of it is progressing exactly how it was supposed to go, which was, the core material was put on YouTube. It resonated well, it was scoring well out there. And then once a few celebrities, remember you and I, it's the third person syndrome. And that is, first time is happenstance, second time is coincidence, third time is enemy action, which is no different than a wedding reception. No one wants to get on the dance floor first. So Tila, you always wait for the idiots to go on the dance floor first. Usually the drunk people. They're like, I toasted 8 times, and then they stumble on. Tila Tequila, pretty good first choice for getting on there, because it just broached the subject and people just kind of waved it off and said, whatever, right? But then B.O.B. comes on. And granted, he's not, he is a rapper, so he's not going to be taken as seriously as other people. But he was Grammy nominated, so it's not like
the Grammy part might make him seem less legitimate in my thought process. But his lyrics themselves are really, really powerful.
They are.
I do need to interrupt what we're talking about, and we'll get back to it. It's pertaining to Jesse Spots, who is invited to join us, but he's in Q&A now and doesn't realize that I sent to his Facebook Messenger the link to get into the Google Hangout. So Jesse, go to Facebook. And check in your messenger, and the link is there.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to what you were saying. The first one on the dance floor, Tila, and then
the second one is B.O.B. It's the third person. That is the key. or one of the keys, I should say, to opening this thing up, because the third person changes the direction of how the media is going. Because right now it is an oddity in the news. It's one of those news stories that's really, really strange, and everybody's looking at it like a car crash or a circus sideshow or something like that. But they're not trying to figure out what it is. You know, they're just looking at literally at face value. Rapper's talking about flat Earth. He must be crazy. Yeah, he's doing a lot of interesting tweets, but nobody's really, I mean, yeah, there's some people digging into it. When the third person comes out on this, and he may know B.O.B., he may not, he may not be tied to them in any way, shape, or form. But when that person, man or woman, comes out, then the media has to change gears, because they look at it and they say, okay, it was funny when Bob, it was hilarious when Tila said it. It was sort of interesting when Bob said it. What's this person talking about it for? And why are the three of them comparing notes and really saying the same thing? Then they have to say the next logical step is, what is flat Earth? Why are we talking about this now? Where is the origin coming from? And now then they would have to do the backstory, which is they look into you call it what you want. You can see the headline already, which is, the mystery, the enigma that is flat Earth. And they start digging into it, and then it starts to get interesting.
Jesse is here. Jesse has more of an inside scoop on the whole B.O.B. thing. He's been following it. Of course, we know him for his work on flat Earth, and we know him for some work on cloning, too. And since the cloning is an aspect of the B.O.B. story, Jesse, what you got?
Well, I just want to warn you that I'm having some audio issues, so we'll
Sounds
see
good.
how far we get. But I listened to a bit of what you said, and I only started becoming kind of suspicious, well, last night. I made a series of videos, and mainly my concern is predictive programming. At the moment, nothing's on my radar with B.O.B. as far as his intent, but why is he named B.O.B.? And I'm finding things like this numerology, like there's power in a bunch of people concentrating their energy on that number, 13013. So it's like, for me personally, it's like, okay, well, I'll just call him Bobby Ray from now on. But everybody's familiar with the Illuminati card game by now. Plenty of our friends have tried to shut us down using the Flat Earth card. And, of course, now there's this B.O.B. card. And I went a little further because I remember that cartoon head. And sure enough, it's like a ongoing theme throughout the entire card deck. That one's blown out. You can't really see it. It says Robo Bob. Kill Bob. Everything's blown out, isn't it? Can you see that?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of the way the astronauts can't see stars in space.
The Anti-Bob. Three-Fisted Tails of Bob. Give me slack or give me food. So what this all ties down to is there is a fictional, or rather I should say a parody church called the Church of Subgenius. And they created a series of documentary videos, not documentary, but propaganda videos in the 90s for MTV. So what people are telling me in the comments of my videos is when conspiracy started going mainstream, one of the responses was the Church of the Subgenius, and it has this fictional hero, the fake prophet Bob, who rises against a conspiracy and has something to do with a Planet X tie-in. So I found a bunch of videos online. I mean, there's like an hour-and-a-half long movie you can watch on this whole subculture. I think it's a little too early to say that B.O.B., the rapper, is somehow tied into this, but there does seem to be a predictive programming element to it. So what I always want to tell people with regards to anybody promoting Flat Earth or this message is stick with the message, not the person. It's like we pour our faith in the people. We have this hero syndrome. When you go see a movie, what are the mechanics that makes that movie work? Is you give your strength to the character on the screen. You imagine that you're that character. And so just like with Tiger Dan, if B.O.B. goes off message, we have to test him. We have to see where his loyalty lies. Is it with the truth or is it with some narrative? So I think we should test him. My loyalty lies with Jesus Christ, what's the phrase? Nobody can serve two masters. So I'm definitely curious, what B.O.B. is all about, just as anybody else. And I encourage people to research the Church of Subgenius, Bob Dobbs, J.R. Bob Dobbs. That's a fictional character that maybe BOB was predictive programmed after, and a YouTube user named Ivan Stangs. It's just real curious. It's just this tie-in. I don't think that BOB is implicated yet, but I too am sort of like, some of my like radars are going off with like Hitler imagery and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. And we all just have to remember that it's nice that it's out in the mainstream, but why is it out in the mainstream? And we don't really need to pay attention as much to who's put it out in the mainstream. But he's got some good songs, so hey, at least his music's better than Neil deGrasse Tyson's music. So we have a win there. Thank you for coming on and talking to us. What else you got, Jesse?
No, well, I just listened to just the last little bit that you guys said, so I'm not sure where you guys are at. But the cloning topic in general, it's the same thing. It's the testimony, the message is important, but whether or not certain individuals, remain with the truth, like everybody should be tested. And I think Flat Earth is becoming this great litmus test to see at least who's willing to research this. So it's been really fun in the last few days to watch Mark Dice, watch Young Turks be just completely just smothered by flat earthers. And my only suspicion right now is with this Bob Dobbs character, there could potentially be a ritual of humiliation. As more and more people humiliate Bob, even though we've been in this game for a while, we could pour our emotions into BOB and then become susceptible somehow. So that's all I want to warn people about, because there's a tie-in with the Church of Subgenius in a sort of humiliation ritual. But other than that, I'm just like, hey, who's the next celebrity? Maybe is there going to be a politician that comes out? Is Vladimir Putin, for Flat Earth? I doubt it from things I hear. But I think everybody should just stick with the message, try to stay on message, and whenever people pop up, test them, try them, see where they're at. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Jesse. Perfect.
Nice to
Well
see you,
said.
Jesse.
Bye.
I agree completely. And speaking of people popping up, just popping up and popping on in is David Weiss. Hey, David, how are you?
I am doing great. Hey, I wanted to make an observation about Bob. Do I sound all right? Is my mic on today?
Your mic's on, but it's really dark. You're like in a dark tunnel.
Oh, I could turn some light on. But
It's okay.
I'm wondering, is he put in to the narrative for a purpose? And I'm leaning in that direction. And whether he is or he isn't, I don't think really matters that much, because just all of these, flat Earth, whether it's positive or negative, the universe doesn't know whether you want something or don't want it. If you're focusing on it, it's going to be attracted to you. So all of these, flat Earth on CNN, flat Earth here, somebody's surfing the internet and they come across, one of our videos, anyone's videos, a pro flat Earth thing, they might look at it because they've been programmed, just like they do, with 9/11 and everything else. They program us with stuff that just slips by, and I think it's good. I think it's helping the awakening.
Agreed.
I could have said that probably in one sentence, but
Well, we like to see you, so it's good that you stopped by, even if you're in a dark tunnel. It's all right, though. Funny. Anything else going on in your world? Stuff that's happening? You're researching videos that you're going to be doing or have done?
I loved Fouquet's videos today. He put out a 30-second video about the stars. Mark, did you see that?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I'm sorry.
It's very simple. He just went outside and he filmed himself with street lights and reflections off of buildings and whatever. And he said, how come I can see the stars in this? With all, he recreated, what it might be like on the fake space station. And he's like, look, and you can see stars. End of video, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Nice.
He's got some really good videos that they say it all really quickly. Plus, his personality makes it really fun to listen to.
I love making short videos, which Google has forced me to love. And my goal is, I've always been in sales and marketing and stuff in my business, and I learned in an experiment we did in school on effective advertising that billboards are very effective, more effective than radio or whatever as far as the cost, but the less words, the better. And the goal was a one-word billboard that sells your product. because people don't have time. You're driving on the highway and you have like a complicated billboard. You don't see it. You can't even read it. And I just think they're worthless. I laugh at them. So my goal, and I've challenged him to, is whoever can make a 10-second or less video that convinces everybody that the Earth is flat wins.
Wow.
Just like in They Live, I mean, the billboards that they showed that said obey and, yeah.
Hey,
one word.
David, to your point though, I think you're really onto something as far as the media exposure helping this, because I thought of something today, which was anybody that's in the flat Earth closet. You mean, they're a pro flat Earth person, but they're afraid to talk to to their coworkers and their family about it. Having this much blanket coverage in the media changes that aspect, because if if you have a friend that only watches Fox News and Fox News is the gospel and that's all they're going to believe, if you show them this art, it's like, oh, by the way, Fox News ran a thing, and here's a panel on television where they're talking about flat Earth. Now you have an avenue that they can look at it, or Time Magazine, or the New York Times, or whatever the people that you're working with, whatever their medium is. Now you have a road that goes straight to them. And that we didn't have, and it all happened in 24 hours. It was
my son, in his mid-20s, texted me just yesterday or the day before. He's like, "Did you see B.O.B.?" Because he's into rap music, so now he's already a closet flat earther. Sorry, I'm outing him right now. But he's coming. He said something about it. It was interesting.
Yeah, my friend, I didn't, she called me, the one where she only listened to her, the NPR is the gospel. And she's going, she read it, she's going, you got to be kidding me. But it got to her. This story is now being introduced into even the narrowest of cracks. And it's great. I still think it's going to be well, again, we'll see where it goes, but for now, it's a really positive thing.
Your metric of reaching 5 million, you said, in May or something?
No, it was 5 million for all of 2016. That's going to probably...
But we hit 3 million just like 4 or 5 days ago, right?
Yeah.
And now we're at 3.7 million?
Yeah, I think 3.7.
I think we're going to hit 5 million in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. I'm thinking it's going to be very, very soon. And somebody else has got to come out pretty soon too.
Because there's going to be a lot of people. Remember, this thing not only inspires people on the pro side, but it inspires a lot of people on the con side who want to make videos in response. It's like, I hate flat Earth, and here's why. Just added to the metrics, and it's going to take a few days for the people that just caught it on mainstream to look at YouTube and then all of a sudden realize I can be part of the conversation. They will, and you're right. It's gonna jump in bigger chunks real soon. So yeah, I think you're right.
We've got Jaron joining us in a couple of minutes, but he and Missa were running behind, and he's having trouble getting his camera started. And I said, well, if your camera doesn't work, you can come on and be an icon for a while, just a picture icon there. But he's trying to get his camera up and running. So what I wanted to bring about to the table with Jaron and you, David, and you, Mark, we'll wait until Jaron joins us with the camera or not. But David, feel free to stay or turn some lights on in that alleyway that you're broadcasting from. Oh yeah, I see you put the light on. Much better. Funny. Let's just take a few questions from Q&A. The first one is from Jordan Rains, and he said, I'd ask a question about JLB and Tim Osman, but since Patricia skips over all my questions, I guess it's just useless. So
John LeBon and Tim Osman?
So we'll address it. Yeah, the John LeBon and Tim Osman thing. And I know, David, you know exactly what Jordan Rains is talking about, because you and I discussed JLB earlier today, and a video that he put out in which he was talking about a flat earther who did a video in which he felt that he had, with a voice recognition software, matched to a person who is an atheist children's pastor. I may be wrong about that, and says it's this person named Kyle, that Tim Osman is him. Tim Osman says, no, that's not him. And then John LeBon dug through some stuff and then found a video of Tim Osman, or what is purported to be Tim Osman, during a Google Hangout a while ago. So, David, have you seen that?
I have not seen John LeBon's video. I was actually looking for it just a little while ago and didn't know where it was. It's not on his channel.
Yeah, I found it actually through Nathan Oakley's channel, so I'm sure it's out there somewhere, and some people know what I'm talking about. But it does have a guy, a thin, youngish, maybe late 20s, fit-looking guy, Caucasian. You could see muscle tone, wearing a T-shirt and with a dog, and he's got one of those. I think it's called a shisha. Some people call it a hookah pipe, and his picture is kind of flashing in and out of a Google Hangout, just like ours are here. And when you hear him speak, it's definitely the voice of cognitive dissonance, Tim Osmond. And I shouldn't be mentioning them because I don't, them meaning he, but I did want to say that since Jordan Rains brought it up as a Q&A, that he had a question about JLB and Tim Osmond, I would mention it. So, Jordan, if you really want to ask a real question as opposed to wondering why I don't answer your questions, put that in the Q&A and I'll skip around and try to find it.
I have a question. So, I mean, the whole story that the guy told sounded pretty good, but you're saying that software doesn't exist. You know, that can't be done. That,
you mean the browser scraping, the data scraping?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you can do it with one click. You know, normally, you know, yeah, if you click on that particular thing he had out there, that link, that particular type of data thing had been around for like 5 years, and I hate to think that loophole hadn't been shut down a long time ago with one click. If that's how he did it, great. I just can't imagine that that's how it worked. I'm sorry, I've dealt with a lot of malware and a lot of bad.
So it's possible that he did get that data and was keen enough to sort it out and put that whole story together, or are we?
Possible.
So it's still possible.
Sure. No, I'm not going to say it's impossible. No, I've seen weirder stuff, but if that's how he did it, great. I think he did it through another means, but if that's how he did it, hey, cool, I guess.
It's supposed to grab your browser history,
or at least part of it.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's able to get everything you've ever looked at since you started with your computer, or just what you've looked at today, or I don't know how it is.
Maybe but what's ever in your history.
Yeah, I guess your history's never really deleted. Is that true? I don't really know much about that.
It depends what your settings are. You can auto delete it, or you can manually delete it.
Well, then how come when you hear about these cases where there's a serial killer and they can go into the computer and they can get stuff out of it that's already been deleted? I mean,
well, that's different. I mean, if you delete stuff off your hard drive, it's just off the directory until something else writes over it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can, once it's written over, I don't know if they can get it back. I don't think so, but what do I know?
So, Mark, you have expertise in PCs more than Macs, or which one?
Oh, yeah. More PCs than Macintosh. I started in Macintosh. In fact, I didn't know really much about. Well, that's because PCs started out terrible with that whole Windows 3.1 thing. But I got out of Macintosh in about 2004.
Wait, you went from Mac to PC?
I did. Well, mostly because of the gaming stuff. Because all the really good games. See, there was a big gap. Not to go into it too much because this is a flat Earth thing, but games the good games started out on the PC first because there was such a bigger market, and then they were converted over to Macintosh. And being a gamer, I hated waiting for it. So finally, in 2004, not coincidentally, that's when Warcraft came out. I said, all right, I'm switching over. I switched over from like a G3 Mac to a PC. So
from a gaming standpoint, you switched from PC to Mac?
Well, no, I mean, I know I love Macintoshes. I mean, I love everything about Macintosh and the Macintosh culture. But gamers tend, and you can go into any forum, they'll all say the same thing. It's like, PC is where it's at because the ratio of people that play games, it's heavy PC. Macintosh, they're still playing catch up even after all these years.
And I know David and I both have Macs. I think, right, David? You do? Yeah, you do.
That would make us Satanists because the whole Apple thing with the bite of the apple, and you ever looked at the Apple headquarters? It's set up like an ovum with a sperm being sterilized. It's insane.
Everything, every symbol that we wear. I have this shirt by this artist, and I checked it before I put it on today to make sure there was nothing weird. But if we held it up, we could probably find something. And your Puma hat that you're wearing, David, that could represent
black cat. RV pointed that out yesterday.
Yeah, David and I talked to Russian Vids for our other show, Truth is Stranger Than Lies on Talk Network, and he pointed it out, not in a negative way, but meaning that you can find symbolism that mean, in almost everything. And
the back
sometimes
of my microphone has a pyramid on it, I think.
Yeah, and RV pointed that out too. Russian Vids, always on the prowl. He was great to talk to, though. So
he doesn't miss anything.
And we also talked in a previous show to Amir, Insanity is Sanity, did a show with him, so that was good. I guess we can, as we wait for Jaron to get his mic situation set, and then join us, if you don't mind staying, David, or if you've got somewhere to go. Maybe I could kick you off.
I'm happy to stay, and I'd like to talk to Jaron a little bit. We had a great conversation yesterday, and we could bring up some of the points. But one of the things that Mark, you sent it to me, was that flight radar guy that found a commercial flight going over 900 miles an hour.
Yeah. One of the guys, I think it's Propaganda Destroyer. I think that's the name of his channel. He's been spending an excessive amount of time on the flight tracking software packages, watching all sorts of stuff, especially in the South Pacific. He's been concentrating a lot on those, and yeah, he's sent me a whole bunch of links. And if he's listening right now, I messaged him on YouTube and said, look, I've got some screenshots of some weird stuff too. Flights that don't make sense, or flights that took off apparently in like the 1940s, which are still flying around today.
Free energy. They didn't use gasoline.
Exactly.
Just up there.
But he sent me a screenshot, and he actually showed it in real time in one of his videos. I just sent you, I sent you the video. But yeah, he showed a plane that supposedly was doing 910, 920 miles an hour, which was either that was a kilometer version that they didn't adjust. But I don't know why, because it's a global setting, whether you do, a world setting from kilometers to miles an hour, but it said miles an hour on it. So we need more of what he's doing, more planes clocked at that speed to get it to be more scientific.
So that's just one. We're eventually going to track a plane, excuse me, effectively and find out. So I'm under the belief, I lean towards the possibility that planes can fly well over Mach 1, which is only about 700 miles an hour. It's even less at different altitudes. And if that is the case, there's a lot less things wrong with the map. With all of if planes can fly 1,000 miles an hour, 1,200 miles, who knows how fast they could fly with new technology and whatnot. The sonic boom is the least of the problems. That is just once you pass the speed of sound, that sonic boom is behind the plane. So people on the plane would never even hear it. And the people on the ground will only hear a little rumble far in the distance, like some distant thunder. Yeah. So that could explain a lot of things. I know that Jeffrey Grupp is looking into it, and he's working on some good videos. Jeff, step up the pace. It's time. Release some videos. Yeah. Jaron. Hello.
I was messaging with Jeffrey. Hey, Jaron, thank you for coming. Camera's working. Hello.
It's not working. It's inverted. I'm backward.
Oh yeah. Well, it's all right. Everything's backwards the way life is. Duality. Well, okay, so what I wanted to talk with you guys, and Jesse could have stayed for that too, but it doesn't matter. He's hopefully still listening. And everybody who's here, and we're going to get to chat. There's lots of questions coming in. Was I wanted to see if you guys thought, and the people in chat as well, and those watching, just as an idea, a Flat Earth convention, and I know many have talked about it, is a good idea, and if so, shall we start planning now? Or shall we wait because things are in flux right now? It's not an important thing. There's many more important things to do, one could argue, but also maybe it's a good thing for togetherness. And one more thing could be maybe we don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Convention right now. Anybody want to take this first and give their thoughts and ideas on the convention idea? Since you just joined, Jaron, I'll put it on you.
Oh, thanks. I don't know if now is the best time. I mean, I think it is important eventually to do, but I think that I just need to see, at least from my perspective, I would need to see people have like a better camaraderie. Kind of the way, I don't know, I envisioned it at the beginning was I kind of liked that everybody had their own unique style, their own unique delivery. My dog's coming in. And it seems like people are now trying to get into this habit of telling people what they can and can't do. And I don't think that we should be doing that. I mean, Mark has his unique way of talking about it, and he says from a game designer standpoint, and likes to say, the Truman style, the enclosed world. I like to kind of make funny videos and do song parodies, and you like to interview people, and I just feel like we each have. Jesse Spots has his kind of deep and intellectual kind of conversations with. I just love how each person's very unique and has their own style and their own method that they bring to the table, and I think we should celebrate that. I mean, anybody who's going to try and tell me, you should be doing things this way, Jaron, or you should be delivering things this way, or you shouldn't say that, or we should all, what do they say, dance with who brought you, right? And I just think that I don't see enough of that, of kind of just celebrating each person's strengths. And you like to interview people, you kind of give us that inside look. I mean, I wouldn't know anything about Marmar Queen. I wouldn't know a lot of those kind of people who are making videos, but we don't know a lot about them personally. It's nice that you bring that out. You get a chance for us to meet them. And so I guess I have a hard time with the amount of people who give others a hard time because they're not exactly like they wish they were, or exactly like they hope they were. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes sense. Maybe what you're saying is that this is a good idea to do a convention, but we aren't there yet. We probably need to respect each other's individuality first, a little bit more at least.
Yeah, I think so. And it's something that I thought, 3 months ago.
Me too. 3 months ago, I think Mark and I were kind of slightly discussing it among ourselves, and other people were too.
I think I mentioned it somewhere or some interview or another, but I think that it's just my opinion's changed only because of kind of the infighting, and I'm not one that would say that there is no paid shills. I would never say that, but I think that just the word itself has now caused like us to be at each other, and I think that kind of surprises me a little because who cares if I were to go globe tomorrow? That shouldn't affect anybody at all. You guys should all say Jaron lost his mind. He now thinks it's a globe for X, Y, and Z reason, and you guys should continue on your path towards what you feel is the truth. It shouldn't have anything to do with the movement. And I feel like people are like holding on so tightly to every one of us that it's like, well, Mark at any minute is going to go globe, and then we're all going to fall apart. And to me, that's ridiculous. If Mark,
unless you came out with some awesome proofs for the globe.
Well, and then if we're all searching for truth, then everybody should join me, right?
Yeah, I've said that too. I've said that if I got the proof that we lived on a globe, I would be the first to admit it and share it and have interviews about it and talk about it, admit it. I would never just hold on to flat Earth if it wasn't true.
Yeah, and people have asked me.
I know it's true, so,
Right, and people have asked me before, what if they came with the proof? And I said, yeah, sure, we can pretend that all of a sudden there's going to be this magical proof. But you don't, if you need to prove something, do you wait 50 years? I mean, it's not like they're going to find the proof of the moon landings, oh, we just had this proof for 50 years and forgot to show you. Or it's obvious that they're hiding all these things from us, and space is so clearly, to me at least, the idea of space or what they tell us it is, so clearly fake. If it was real, it would be, and I say self-evident, but it's just, what real is like. You know what video footage is like when things are real. You know what kind of proofs you're given when things are actual. They're not just stories. These are all stories that we're told. Stories about orbital mechanics and things that orbit the planet, and they're great stories, I guess, but that's it. They're stories.
Yeah.
So
when you watch, to his point, when you watch home movies or videos that you've done, that you shot yourself, you can play them 100, 200, 1,000 times. You're not going to find flaws in them. You're not going to find things anomalies that look strange and that you can dissect and because you know they're true. I mean, they have this real ring of authenticity, and that's the exact opposite of what we see. And it took us a long time because nobody, when we tried to, the truth movement wasn't supposed to die.
Oh, it looks
Now
like we
we have-
lost Mark, and he's back.
What?
Oh, you're back.
Was I gone?
Yeah, you got beamed out. Now you've been beamed back. You
Oh,
said
sorry.
the truth movement wasn't supposed to.
Oh, the truth movement wasn't supposed to dissect news footage because the news is always true. Which is why now, once we found the flaws in some of the news stories, now we have to look at everything, which is exhausting because the news is supposed to be true. What is reported by the authorities is supposed to be real. So
whatever NASA gives us is supposed to be
is
real.
whatever NASA is. Why would you think we didn't go to the moon? That's silly. Look, here's pictures. It's like.
I just want to say something to what Jaron was saying about the detractors. You know, if you get people on here telling you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, I call that contrast. And in our lives, we experience contrast. When something is put in your life that you don't want, that you hate, it causes you to want the opposite. And that's the contrast that causes you to desire something else and attract that into your life. Because without contrast, if everything was hunky-dory, it would get pretty boring. There would be no great desires, but contrast creates desires. And I say some of the worst videos, sometimes when I'm attacked, I create great videos out of that. And Jaron, your best video is a response to some contrasting idiots out there, and I welcome it, because the truth is the truth. The truth is the light, and you can turn on a switch, but there is no switch for darkness unless you cut off the truth.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that I love to hear things from different people, different opinions. Even as I was getting mad at Lawrence for talking about two suns, I was more not mad at the two suns idea as much as I was, you guys just said that we can't make conjecture, but then you come out with saying two suns with no evidence. But really, I like to hear things like that. I've also
there could be 5 suns. I mean, you know what I'm saying. It's just, let's find out.
Right, the 5 suns. So I think that all those things, hearing them is certainly not a problem. I like to hear those things. And so I wasn't saying to him, you're not allowed to say two suns. I was making a joke from their perspective when they say we're not allowed to say things. I was just saying, well, then you can't say two suns. But I actually am open to hearing anything. And if somebody is the kind of researcher that comes out and says two suns, and the next day comes out and says 4, and the next day comes out and says 1, and they're just all over the board, then I'll make the decision if I want to continue to listen to what they have to say. If somebody says two suns and then gives me reasons why they think that, because here's this webcam footage, it clearly couldn't work with 1, but with 2, I can, then I say keep going. And there's so many things that a month later I'll hear or see when I'm researching that I'll remember. Oh, I remember so-and-so said this. And how could we expect truth to come from anything else? We need to kind of all pool together. I don't remember who I was talking to the other day. I was saying that one of the things that I know that the Freemasons do is they have each other's backs, and it's like so sad that that's but it's how awesome is that to have a team that you always feel like you're backed up by, and I think that's how they just know that they're going to be backed up. They're going to be covered by their buddies, and I just wish that we were more like that. And I don't mean cover for my lies and you cover for your lies and nothing like that. I mean have each other's back, like knowing that, hey, Jaron's been in this for a year now, Mark's been in this for a year. It's kind of becoming obvious that the people that are in this for the right reason. Nobody's going to be in this for a year and then just pull a strange move and take off.
Well,
we call
one
that
person.
a Tiger Dan. That's a new term.
Yeah.
Pull a Tiger Dan. We'll call it a TD. A TD from now on.
David and I were kind of talking about this the other day, which was, we might as well say this on air because I haven't had the chance to yet. Because we had listened, you and I had both listened to Tiger come on, not to dwell on him too much, and he said if I turn against flat Earth, then it's obvious that I've been tortured. And
when people are saying,
all right, when, but I've said on a couple interviews, look, they'll have to kill me before it's easy for me to say it because I'm not married, don't have kids, but assume, seriously, I will say this on record, assume if I turn against flat Earth for any reason, I have been compromised, no question, and feel free to come after me. And do whatever you have to, black bag me. I don't care because the truth is too important.
We need a special thing that we can do if that ever happens, and we're able to get to a computer and we can send a blank email to one or the other.
Blown it.
Oh,
Yeah,
uh-oh. Oh,
Now
that's
you've
a good
blown
idea.
it.
Now they know. They know.
Hey, if I flip and go ball Earth, I'm gonna have some awesome proofs for you. All right?
Yeah.
And you're all gonna be convinced, guaranteed.
Well, the key is, like, if I flip for whatever reason, the last thing I would do is just flip and just go from I'm pro, here's why everybody in the flat earthers are liars. I would do a transition video that says, okay, I'm having real problems with these issues, and I don't think I can keep going down the flat earth path anymore.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
And I would confide in you guys, for example. I would call you up and say, look, I've got real, because people do that to me all the time. They say, look, I have a problem with meteorites. I have a problem with something in space usually, or in Antarctica, and I will talk to them. But I would do that if somebody came to me, and again, it's been a year, nobody's got anything. So I would come to you guys and say, look, help, because I'm wavering. The last thing I would do is all of a sudden say, make my own video and say, Patricia, David, and Jared, oh, they're the most horrible people in the world. Burn them! Get pitchforks and torches and start running down the streets after you guys.
I don't know if they're utterly stupid or something. I say that, and something's wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, please call me out on it if that ever happens. Assume I've been cloned, I've been replaced, I've been MK Ultra'd, whatever's out there. Assume that I have all of a sudden been a part of that, because it goes against logic with the path that I've taken so far. You don't make. I mean, how many videos does my channel have? Like 170. Yeah, I'm not gonna, and they're all flat Earth based. I'm not gonna put out that many videos and then just turn against it for no apparent reason. So
somebody's going to point out that behind you on your computer is something that belongs on my channel. So before somebody brings that up later, please explain why that image is on your channel. The moon mowing thing, which is part of my channel.
What's your show?
Right, exactly. But I
know
know it's going to come up.
Oh no, that's the banner on Patricia's YouTube channel, which is Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. It doesn't have the words on it because you probably couldn't see them anyway because they're kind of small in that 2001 Space Odyssey font. But no, that's something I was just planning on doing because I've got so many Flat Earth and Hot Potatoes banners. I figured, why waste them? Why not just throw them up on there? And it's I didn't know who made the original image, but yeah, it's an astronaut mowing the moon over a flat surface, which is kind of cool.
Is that the pinball trophy up there?
Is what? Yeah, it is. It is my pinball. Oh, yeah.
You should show that, since I've seen many people accuse you of
okay.
Not the pinball champion.
Hang on.
He was a pinball.
I've been really careful with this thing because it's old. Here, let me show you real quick. Hopefully you guys can see it.
You just have to talk while you hold it up.
Oh, sorry. It is my 1994. Can you guys see the date and everything?
Look at that.
1994 World Championship trophy, and it made it to Colorado and back with me. They sent it to me out here in Seattle when I won it, and yeah, it was the Crystal Caliburn Pinball Championship. And I know it's tough to find online because it's an older tournament, but sorry, you'll have to forgive the globe that I'm standing on top of.
It would have cost $5 to make that nameplate, but anyway.
Thank you.
You made it just before this show. I still see the sticky tape on it.
No, are you kidding? This thing. No, I've been really excited that it never got a mark on it after especially during the move back out here. But
what's the person at the top doing? Why don't they have him playing with flippers or something?
There's no such thing as a pinball trophy.
So what are they holding?
He's standing on a globe.
It's just a wreath. It's just a guy on a.
Mark had this made a month ago.
No, I didn't. No, you can look this up, okay? First of all, Crystal Caliburn exists. It's made by a developer who doesn't publish in the States anymore called Little Wing. And in fact, I even made the video game, or the video game.
He's reading from a script.
No, I didn't talk. Where's my sheets?
He's MK Ultra mind controlled.
Hang on.
Get that globe out of that window, please.
Hang on, sorry. Sorry, here, I'll put the trophy over here. Okay, no, seriously. I am... Wait, no, David, it's your line. No, wait.
The sad thing is, this is all funny and everything, but the sad thing is, the conspiracy world creates this. among all of us.
No,
oh,
wait,
and Jesse
I know-
Spots is back.
Wait! I have to throw one more thing in, please, because
Yeah,
because you can find me out there. I actually made the Video Game Book of World Records in 1995. I was published by Twin Galaxies, an old arcade guy, and I've got the book somewhere over there in a case. But I'm on page 262. You can look it up, Crystal Caliburn. It's a much younger picture of me, but
Somebody do the gematria on 262.
Well, I'm page 2. Well, no, I know what page I'm on.
I know. I'm just saying that's how insane this world is.
But it was really cool. I mean, it was a really fun tournament. I was lucky to win it, and I told you, Patricia, I'd even told on Humana's Story how I won it. I didn't cheat necessarily, but I did do a sort of an exploit to win the tournament. But I did win it. It was actually real. So I know there's people who are going to say, "Oh, he made that trophy up, but it was made in the DoD, trophy lab," and it's like, no, it's a real trophy.
I know that you probably want to get to questions, but I wanted to bring up that article of the guy that supposedly almost went across Antarctica and now he's dead.
Yeah, that whole story, the minute I read it, I thought, sad if he's dead and if that's real, but it's programming on like 3 different levels. You can cross Antarctica because he was only 30 miles away. You can go there, and if you go there, you'll die. So 3 things.
That guy was probably related to Tiger Dan.
And then did you look at the pictures? It's just like a picture of him in a tent. Couldn't do that in my backyard. A picture of him wearing a snowsuit, and then that picture literally is put on top of a picture of Antarctica. Where's the picture of him doing a selfie, a video, doing a 360? I mean, not that you couldn't even do that on the edge of Antarctica, but it looks so fake.
Well, the one picture that was real, though, the picture we saw most was him shaking hands with Prince William.
That's his buddy or something, right?
Yeah, the Royals. That the Royals endorsed the trip. I thought that's the reason it got so much traction.
Yeah, there's an honest guy for you. Isn't that the guy that said he wants to come back as a virus so he can kill all the people?
It's gonna become like the new NASA space missions. We're gonna hear all these people who cross Antarctica in a canoe or something.
I say anybody that lives in the northern states where there's snow, take some pictures of yourself and document your trip across Antarctica. I bet we can do a way better job.
Jesse, every time you speak, the camera's not flipping to you, so there's something with your microphone. I know you said earlier you had an issue, so test it out again real quick.
I'm just talking, and I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. So it's not
That's
even...
fine. It's not going to your picture. People know it's Jesse's.
I'm cool with that.
It's fine.
Yeah, I get that function.
Some Google Hangouts are a mess. At least we have this option at this point, so we're lucky. Who else? We had Jaron addressing should we have a Flat Earth convention? If not now, when and why? Who wants to take it next? Maybe Jesse, since you're here. Oh wait, Mark's raising his hand.
Well, real quick, and Jesse could probably add on to this. The whole dynamic of the convention is going to change real quick if we're progressing the way I think it's going to go, and that is who would enjoy the convention more than anybody but the celebrities. I know you're going to probably roll your eyes and groan. It's like, oh, not celebrities at a pure Flat Earth convention, but
celebrities show up at every convention.
Well, that's what I mean.
Convention.
I mean, you got the crowds there. You're gonna have the press. It's a double-edged sword because you will get more attendance if also it's like, oh, by the way, special musical performance by B.O.B. Do you know how many people would show up at that thing?
Yeah, we'd have to raise so much money in order to actually have him there.
No. What if he did it, for cheap? It would be an amazing thing. It's like you have no idea how many people would show.
Well, that was something I got excited about B.O.B. is he started putting out on Twitter, start tweeting at me cities where I should do my next concert. And I was like, you can do that? Aren't these things planned way in advance? And I was just thinking about wow, a VIP conspiracy party with B.O.B. would be so cool. And that's where I kind of had to had to hold back and be stay focused. Don't don't give this all over to B.O.B. You know what I mean? It's it's a fun spectacle to watch, and let's see what Yeah.
Exactly. So what do you think? Oh, go ahead, Jaron. Sorry.
I was just gonna say yesterday after I watched one of Jesse's videos, I found myself in the deep dark underworld of the Church of the Subgenius. So thanks for that.
Sorry. I didn't. And I said I was going to watch. That full
Radio.
movie. I didn't
Oh,
because
boy.
it was too. I wasn't mentally prepared to watch that hour-and-a-half video. And go look if you don't believe me. Go. There's a whole subculture. The comments I'm getting on YouTube are people calling me an idiot because I don't understand it's a joke. Like this one lady was like, in Ohio, Bob Dobbs is a joke, you idiot. You're paranoid. And I'm like, this is a weird rabbit hole, and it exists, so excuse me. But yeah.
It definitely exists. You even have like a radio show that I probably listened to 4 minutes of yesterday, and it's a joke. It's funny, but it's just there's people who actually listen to that show, so it can be a joke.
Yeah.
But
And that's, I mean, coming from live comedy, my live comedy background taught me it's like my least favorite stand-up comedians are the ones who just try to alpha you by getting the crowd to laugh against you, you know, and that's exactly what the Subgenius Church does. Is they're like, look at these idiots, da da da, and they've created a whole church around it. So it's like, that's weird. That's kind of, you know, it's a weird parallel to what's going on now, and I certainly don't want to I don't want everybody to just jump on to that rabbit hole and say the BOB is part of it. It's just sort of like, well, is there numerology that was planted in his entertainment persona and now he's broken out of that programming? Those are the kinds of questions. That's where I'm at. And it's like, regardless, I would totally go to like some sort of event that he threw because it's like, I need like relief right now. Like it's just been like this constant struggle with, you know, trolls and my own paranoia. You know, it's like there is paranoia. Like last night at a store, I was like, is that guy following me? You know?
Oh, no.
And I tested him, you know, and I like walked different aisles, and sure enough, he just kept popping up, and I was like, maybe he's not following me, but I'm gonna, you know, just those kind of things naturally happen.
Maybe he was just cruising you.
That's possible.
Could be.
Especially the section you were in, Jesse, happened to be the, I don't know if I'll be giving it away.
You hit him
doll
with a
furniture
can of
section.
soup or something?
Oh, I was in the Barbie section. Is that what you just
Yes.
you just threw me under the bus?
Yes, yeah. Well, for a good reason, he's doing a sort of art project, which potentially will be on his channel later. So, but the guy who potentially was stalking him was probably thinking, "Oh, look at this boy in Barbies. I'm going to follow him."
When he left, I actually like looked at the end of the aisle where he was browsing, and I was like, "You're just staring at like a sand bucket for 5 minutes, really? Or like looking at all the features of this children's sand bucket? Okay, that kind of thing." But you know, it's you do have to like remind yourself sometimes how surreal this is, because the questions we're asking, it's like, this is $1 trillion question. It's like our whole society is based on this lie. So the whole thing is, if somebody would shadow me to the grocery store, just not to get psyched out by it, because it would just be about intimidation. You know.
I had it happen to me last night, and Jesse and I compared notes on the phone last night. At 4 a.m., I was awake doing Flat Earth stuff, videos and such, talking to Jesse. And then I went outside and went to my car. I had left something in my trunk that I wanted. So I went outside, and I live in a secure building in an apartment complex. Went outside, took the elevator, nobody around, 4 a.m., by myself. And it's an interior building, not an apartment complex with exterior portions. Went into the garage, went to my car, brightly lit, there's security guards everywhere. And then came back to the elevator to go back up to where I live. And the time span was like 4 minutes. The elevator wasn't working. And then I used my key passcode to key beep beep into the building. That wasn't working. And I was starting, and I thought, this is weird. I just used this seconds ago. Power's not out. Nothing strange is going on. And then I thought, I wonder if I'm being stalked. And I started getting paranoid and walked to another door and another elevator and got to my place just fine. I think all of us are having these tiny moments of this, and it's good to be just on your guard regardless. If somebody took me out, it's not going to change Flat Earth. I'm not an important.
Here's the sad thing for say the Masons or anybody who would have that motive. The sad thing for them is, that might work in some sort of criminal case against the Mason where they want to intimidate a witness, but something that's the size of the Earth, it's like any tactic like that is just going to be used to give us more legitimacy. You know what I mean? It's like,
the TD story, without mentioning his name, that's created more of a coming together. Sad story that it is, but for certain groups of people, there are these other groups of people who are fighting and calling everybody shills, but it's created core groups of people who are working together more closely and sort of while keeping our unique individual perspectives and belief systems and cultures, we're banding together to at least help support each other. So potentially it will be a good thing in the end.
I have a question. Oh, go on, David.
Where is TD? Isn't he due for a video?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's late.
What's going on? Is he alive? I'm concerned. I'm looking forward to his next video because he's only helping us.
Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny his help.
I would guess that did the BOB thing just completely send him back to the drawing board? I don't know.
It should have. Honestly, and I'm talking to any trolls and debunkers and anybody that and professional debunkers, people that have dedicated channels to debunking everything. The mainstream media has changed, in my opinion, the climate. I mean, that's where I go to first now, because as much as I care and love the flat Earth community, I really need to know the pulse of what's happening out, in the mouth breather world. What the average person on the street is seeing, because that's going to really kind of dictate where this goes next.
Oh yeah.
And again, it's humbling. I'm sitting there literally with my mouth open as I'm watching, every hour. It's like, the big players, Time Magazine, watching a panel of 4 people on Fox News on a regular program trying to dissect this, but only from BOB's standpoint. People understand it hit everywhere at once. I mean, it's great that people send me. It's like, hey, did you know it was in the Huffington Post? Hey, did you know it was the Washington Post? It's like, it doesn't. It hit everywhere. So whatever happens now, that's the general public's aware of it. So in the next few weeks or month, it's going to be really critical.
Would be fun, Mark, and because that's exactly how I feel too. Is like I feel like I've been in a river, and I've needed laser focus this entire time.
Yeah.
And then this story brought us to the river. I mean, to the ocean.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the ocean, and I'm like, where do I start? And people are like, why aren't you saying anything? It's like, well, what would I say? Like, I need to slow down and kind of gauge it for myself too.
Yeah. Well,
so that's
what I was going to tell you was, and I'm not kidding when I say this. If and when, in my opinion, it's going to be when the third person, and we'll just call it 3+, because everyone after the third person doesn't make any difference. At that point, it's just a number. When the media, and there's so many media outlets, have to start revisiting flat Earth and looking at flat Earth and seeing what it's about and all the different aspects of it, because they'll go under a microscope. There will not be, even with the amount of flat Earthers that are in it now making videos, there won't be enough flat Earthers to go around. There will be a massive shortage.
No, you're right. You're absolutely
because every newspaper is going to want to talk to somebody. Every podcast, and there's a lot. I didn't realize how many big podcasts there were. Who's TMZ going to talk to? Who are the Young Turks going to talk to? Who is the Beat? And all the there's so many that it's going to be. They're going to be scrambling, looking at everybody they can, and so everybody that's out there making videos, be ready. Because it's going to come down to scheduling. Who can't do this? It's like, well, because these people want to talk to somebody now, and they're not going to care. They're not going to wait. So
I think, the crazy thing will be, we're kind of at that mouth of the river, because we're one short now, and what I mean by that is, for BOB to come out, he didn't know what kind of backlash was going to be. I mean, obviously he must have kind of known, but it's going to take one other person. Because now, if somebody is able to come out, then it's going to be a shocker for people to say, even after BOB got named Donkey of the Week and all these different things, and Mark Dice is acting like he's, Socrates on his so the next person to come out, I think, will be huge. Because that's, right now, if you're just the everyday person sitting on your couch, you can cast this off as this crazy rapper has no idea what he's talking about. Yeah. And dismiss it. But if somebody else comes, and actually knowing what they're putting themselves out for, if they can come out and say it, then I think people will say, okay, hold on, now I got to look into it.
Yeah, let's say it's a friend of BOB. Let's say, and I'm not going to pick the demographic deliberately here, but let's say Oprah Winfrey comes out, or Whoopi Goldberg, or somebody from any talk show comes out and says, you know what, and they may do it. It's like, you know what, I defend B.O.B. and his right to search for the truth. Why not listen to him and see what's going on? Maybe not say, oh, I'm totally flat Earth, but maybe defending B.O.B.
Gosh, yeah, you're right.
That's true. That would be great, and it would be less of a risk too for somebody.
That'd be a sneaky little angle.
The names that I hear, people like Lupe Fiasco, other, it's like there's been a subculture in the African American community where it's like they know how rotten it is, but they just can't say anything. I mean, just look at Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle.
Oh, Cat Williams would be a good one.
But something that that B.O.B. mentioned in one of the videos I got from his Tumblr is anybody with a family. It's like just all that added risk. It's like look for somebody who's just a bachelor, just has less to lose because you're really sticking your neck out at that point.
Yeah.
But you're right. That Whoopi Goldberg, she could be the voice of reason, going so close as to say, now, let's be fair to him. Let's hear him out. There are these people that believe in crazy things like reptiles, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I hope people keep talking too. Like Mark Dice said flat out, he's calling B.O.B. an idiot and a fool, and says, I mean, come on, you just look at the moon, we see the shadow of the Earth. And you're like,
he stumbles all over that too. He doesn't even know what he's supposed to say.
No, it's like, dude, that's not even the shadow of the Earth on the moon. So what are you talking about? Like, it's easy to point that out to him and make him look. I mean, you're calling him stupid?
He also says, the Earth is a sphere. Well, it's not exactly a sphere. It's kind of a. Anyways, he's like all that kind of. It's like, yeah, Mark Dice, we want to get you in the flat Earth debate. Sure, yeah. It's like,
yeah, really.
That guy. Obviously, I felt this way a long time. He's like my least favorite person on the internet. He is what Roddy Rod Piper was in wrestling. I love Roddy Rod Piper as a person, but he's the heel. Like, he's been designated as the heel, and he loves it. He gets off on it. He's like, you guys hate me, you flat earthers. You want to come argue? Subscribe to my channel. Buy my book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Jesse, to change subjects, I just want to get everybody's take on the whole convention thing, your thoughts, and then we'll go to David, and then we'll just have a free-for-all, and then we're going to get to some of these chat questions.
It's nice in the same sense that I talked about being dead focused, like a laser in that river, just trying to hang on to it. And then now we're coming out to this ocean, it's widening. It's like I feel less pressure, like on a day-to-day basis, because I'm like, this story's not going anywhere now. It's like we can just rest easy, and because for that fact, it's like we're getting there. I know that whenever it happens, there's still going to be all the different cliques and people who hate, the people are going to, jump on me for just appearing on this show. And it's like, I'm sorry, but there's such a thing as crisis bonding. And there's all these people like, Tim Osmond and Steven and Laura, like all these people are like pushing the people that you see in this Google Hangout together. And it's like, I need somebody to talk. Stuff.
I think Jesse wants everybody to hold hands.
I was thinking about going to a campsite somewhere, getting some marshmallows. But no, I mean, like my one fear is just is tipping the scales too much, where people are like, oh, I get it. This is all about selling books and going to Vegas and gambling. Like that's my only thing. Is like,
right.
My
I
ideal
agree.
thing would be a little bit more not discreet, but just kind of like serene, but at the same time that's where I'm at right now. It's like I need a breath of fresh air. But
Vegas would be, if we do a convention or something sometime. Vegas, I think, would be, I know that's a convention headquarters and a place that has the facilities set up, and it's less expensive, and you can stay in hotels for cheap. But then it brings in the negative aspect of the gambling and the partying and those distractions, and then there are people whose belief systems would not want to put them in that place at all, period, those people are valid parts of Flat Earth. So if we do it like a cabin or a outdoor camping nature,
groves, if they are available.
Yeah, we'll take it over.
Not even that it goes against your belief system, but it's like you're clinging to the alternative media on your computer night after night to figure out the truth. It's like, now let's go gambling. You know what I mean? It's just
exactly.
Your energy level. That's not where your energy level is.
It's tawdry. It's not for me. Even if I'm wearing a sequin beret, that kind of a lifestyle is not for me.
Drugs, sex, bad language.
Like I don't necessarily think we have to do it in like Missoula or something. But, what I mean? I live close to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. There's even New Orleans has some kind of quaint ass. No, never mind. I take that back. But there's certain cities that would just kind of that would fit. Where people are at.
So we're saying no to Vegas kind of as a group, not that we're making decisions for everybody, but this is just us talking about it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's go to David. What do you think about it? The idea of the convention, pros and cons, when we should do it, and maybe where? Your thoughts?
I agree with everything that was said. Vegas is, it's a nice central point, cheap to stay at, but lots of distractions. maybe some sort of big retreat somewhere in the mountains.
That would be great.
Where we can also have have speeches, and we have models, and we have all these different things, and then in the evening we have an ayahuasca ceremony so everybody can really see the truth. Okay.
I hear there's some.
Hold on, wait. When do I unveil my statue of Mark Sargent with his?
At the end.
Nice. A retreat like that. What was that place that they have openings most of the time? Bohemian Grove. I hear it's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
We can go there.
But something, some energy like something like that. Like Peoria, Illinois. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
somewhere with nice nature, beauty, serenity, away from it all, but not expensive, centrally located near an international airport, or at least relatively close by. So.
And it has a Dollar Tree. That's
That's important. Okay, we'll pencil that one in for you, Jesse. A Dollar Tree. Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything else to add to the idea of a convention? Oh, we didn't. I think time frame wise, my idea is not now, and it takes maybe 6 months to plan something like that. Maybe something like next summer or something like that.
Yeah.
Summer would be good for people who have children, maybe, or when they're not in the schools.
This coming summer or next summer?
Oh,
because if you say next summer, people are going to be like, yeah, duh, the Earth is flat.
Yeah, probably by then too.
We'll work on it.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll work on it. Yes, true. Because if we do it this summer, we would already have had to have plans in place at this very moment, probably, and things reserved.
Right.
It's just an idea. People have talked about it, and if we do it, we would have different groups that would naturally form, or we could help them form. People who believe in this, people who believe in that. Experiments and that sort of thing, and I don't know who's going to be in charge of all of this. We'll all help doing that.
I think Sasha can be the coordinator.
Yeah, exactly. Well, people will naturally.
She volunteered.
Yeah, she did. People will naturally volunteer themselves if they are very good at that sort of thing in the different areas in which they would best shine. So it's something we've talked about here on the show. Will be talked about later. Talk about it among yourselves. Message any of us if you've got good ideas, because ours are only sort of good. Jesse.
What's great about it is not that it's happening, in the next 6 months, but whenever it does happen, suddenly all the people who are like pouring their like internet emotion into hatred and vitriol, they're just going to be standing next to the person they hate. They're just going to be like, oh, hey, yeah, that whole thing, I don't know what that was. I just had to get something out. I apologize. You know how it is. You know what I mean? It's like all those little interactions are so quaint and like funny just thinking about right now.
If people have opposing views also, put them making speeches, an hour apart from each other so people can see both sides, interact, and let the truth fall where the truth falls.
Yeah, exactly. And some
live
people
in an endless dome.
Yeah, an endless dome.
From a gaming standpoint.
Nice.
I like it. And there's people who've been accused of not really being here for the right reasons or not even being real people. Well, then maybe eventually at the convention you'll be standing right next to them and you'll be able to see them. Reach out and touch them.
Another beautiful thing, if we had like a long convention hall where you had all the different rooms and you work your way from booth to booth to booth, and when you get to the far end, one more step and you're at the beginning again. It was just making it more convenient that way.
Exactly. Well, speaking of from video game design standpoint, somebody asked me, Mark, and I wanted to ask you on this, about people say, well, Mark was a video game designer. And I think you're not a video game designer, but you played video games, but you understand how they're designed, and that's why you say from a video game design perspective. Am I right or wrong?
Officially, I was a video game producer.
Producer, different than designer, though.
No, not if you're a hands-on producer, because I did help design the games. No, I wasn't coding anything in C or C++ or any of the stuff that was used back then. Or I'm sorry, C#. But I recruited all the talents. I got the programmers, I got the sound guys, I got the music guys, I got the graphic guys, and I was there every step of the way. In fact, the guy, two of the games, one of them I knew very well, Ed Bremen, who did Alley 19 Bowling, and one of the guys was my roommate, and I helped design levels for the games. So no, I did not code the games. I do know how to code now, but no, back then it was strictly from production. It
And
was-
So
just
it looks
from a-
like you're. Oh, go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
just from like because I went to film school, and it's like there's a parallel too where people just they don't realize how much a producer does because it just
Yeah.
work. But you choose the director. You have the ability to fire the director, and so
Yeah.
people ask what's his name, Coppola, like exactly what he did for The Godfather, because he's like, I picked all the talented people that did an amazing job. Like he says, basically, it's like he didn't really do any of the individual designing stuff. He just picked these really talented people. And that word producer always gets thrown around as though it's just some name attached to a project.
Exactly. It really, well, yeah, producer is such a wide-ranging thing because it comes down, yeah, producers are the money. Let's not kid around. That they produce the game. They are the bankroll for it. But depends how intimate the people, the creative part, they let you get involved. In my case, because I was a gamer and I played a lot of games and tested a lot of games, they let me, do everything from A to Z. The only thing I really didn't do was code, but I had everything to do with picking the music and picking the artwork, and everything that was in the game, I was tied to it in some way, shape, or form because they trusted my judgment. Because in the gaming world, there really is no director. There's, you do have some, project managers, but for us, it was straight up producing. So
Well, it reminds me of my current channel trailer that has been recently released on my channel, and a question had arisen that I didn't make that and I paid somebody a lot of money to make it. I technically produced it. I had somebody offer to me a song that they created based on my personality and what my show's about, and they did that for free. And then I went and collected pictures that represented what I wanted to say about my channel, and somebody created a little piece of artwork with a drawing of me and my cat in it, and I took all of those, I put them in the order in which I wanted, and set to the song in exact specific locations, and then I sent it to Mark, who put it together. So is that channel trailer my work? I consider it is, although I didn't lay those things down the way Mark did. I didn't feel like doing it. He does it really fast, and he did it for me. So anybody wondered about that? It's being a producer. It's you can sign your name to something that I did this thing. It's my image, what I did, So, yeah, something interesting to talk about. That being a producer is not just nothing.
Well, it's interesting because with video games and with film, it's broken down into departments. So by the time you actually have somebody handcrafting like a level in a 3D program, or you have somebody doing art department, set dressing, the vision has already been accomplished and put together, and basically people have bid, they've made a bid on that part of the project. So you could say that the producer, somewhere between the producer and the director, is where the whole vision of the project lies.
Yeah.
Since I used to be a clothing store owner, just like fashion designers, they have their name on the line, like Coco Chanel on the fashion. But Coco Chanel didn't actually cut the clothes and sew the clothes, but it's her, at the time when she was alive, her vision is what's on the runway. So, yeah. Mark, and then I want to go to David. What were you saying? Something? Anything?
The Antarctica sunlight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to talk about that.
David White! That's right. At the convention, I'm going to do a 3-part seminar on how and why we should hate everyone with the last name Weiss. Just want to let you know.
Thank you.
At the convention.
What?
Hey, so Jaron and I were talking, I think it was yesterday, and Jaron, what were you saying about you were talking to somebody that spent time at one of the stations in Antarctica about how they saw the light and couldn't see the sun? Could you repeat that?
Yeah, I was looking into a bunch of blogs trying to find...
Oh, wait, your microphone
Microphone's breaking up.
plug in and out, whatever that thing is that happens with your headset, I think.
Better?
It's like a jiggly headset mic or something.
Keep talking.
Testing?
Better?
Sounds like he's a little bit underwater in a spacesuit.
He's in the firmament. That's what we're going to talk about.
He's in the training pool for the ISS.
Not working?
Go ahead, say something.
Hello, is it working?
No,
not so well.
Still
Okay,
bad.
give me a second.
Yeah, you do that, and then David, you just addressed the question that you were talking about.
What he was saying was, he said somebody spent, I don't know the specifics on why they were there, but they were there, and they said that at certain times of day you can see the sun, and then the sun goes away, but it's still light. It's still light out, but you can't see the sun. So I used to have a lot of fish tanks, and I dealt, aquariums in your home. When you're in a dark room and you light it, we had a curved one. The light would go around the curve, and it would follow the water. We all know water bends, bends light. So the way I see it is you've got this liquid water firmament surrounding everything. The sun is in the Tropic of Cancer. It's just doing its normal lighting thing. It goes out to the Tropic of Capricorn, closer to the firmament, and it's lighting it up. So yes, you can see the sun, but when it goes away from you, it's still lighting the firmament, and that's bringing the light around, keeping the center dark. That is just a theory that I'm working on. I'm not saying it's the way it is, but man, it makes a lot of sense, and it can be proven.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it can be proven to do that. I'm trying to find some glass that I can do that with, and then film it in a dark room. Have a light close to the edge and back to the middle. What do you think about that? I know Mark will say, yeah, it's a possibility.
That's Mark.
Did you just drop out for a second, Jaron, or have you been here the whole time?
Yeah, he's back. His mic was acting
Is
weird.
it working any better?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So how'd I do? Oh, you missed my whole thing.
I don't hate it, David. I don't.
I'll speak on it for a second.
That's okay, Mark. Sorry.
I think that's a great. I think that's
okay.
a great theory for what's going on as far as getting away from the center of the the island in the middle of the flat Earth. It's there's definitely some quality of the dome that's dictating something. I heard Mr. Thrive and Survive and Robin Poe talking about this recently, and I'm fascinated by it. And I definitely think the curve and that relationship you described could be a possibility. And I'm just trying to think of ways where you could try to isolate that variable.
The light would bend around, and it would light up. It would give you some eerie, twilighty light when the sun is quite far away. So, need to model that.
Yeah, I was reading a book called
I was
Deep
just going to
Freeze.
say, David was going to ask Jaron a question, so you guys
Go ahead,
don't
Jaron.
forget that.
Yeah, I think there's a book, I don't remember if it's 1967 or something, called Deep Freeze. It was talking about what they did down in Antarctica, and there's a good 2 or 3 pages that talk about the atmospheric the the happenings that are happening in that outer thing where it's getting hit with light. I have to read more into it to figure out exactly what's going on. But what I was reading from people's blogs is you don't rarely ever see the sun for 24 hours. It's not as if you can see it in the sky for 24 hours. Usually you see it, say, for 8 hours in the sky, and then it is gone, but it's still light. So
It would make sense, if you're imagining the sun on the Tropic of Capricorn going by the shore of Antarctica that surrounds us, and you have a flag in the ground. That video you showed us, you would only get a certain amount of rotation of that shadow. I don't know, are there other good videos that look reliable, that look like they are there, that show it doing a 360? I know that people have said there are. I have not seen them. And again, when you're filming a scene like that, it could be in the North Pole for all we know. It could have been filmed 10 years ago. Who knows what we're seeing? But if you have witnesses that, credible people that are there at an outpost or something, that's the first testimony that I've heard that really is explainable with a dome.
yeah, it's not sufficient for me, the webcam footage that we do have, because, for instance, you'll see the shadow go from short to very long, but it's supposed to be at the 90 degrees south, which it shouldn't be that way. In my opinion, the shadow should remain consistent all the way around. So there's just little things about it that I don't agree with. I'm not saying that they're doctoring the film or anything like that, but it's just not something I think we can bank things on. We can't go Tiger Dan on it and just say, oh, we're wrong, everybody's an idiot, because, like I said, 5% of the population lives below the equator, so even for us to pretend like we know what goes on with the southern stars is kind of a little bit naive.
So when you're saying that the shadow should remain the same length, is that on a ball Earth it should remain the same length, or because I see it being different lengths and sweeping, a half circle or give or take?
No, I'm saying on a ball.
Oh,
So-
okay. On a ball, it should remain close to the same length.
Right, so the webcam footage we do see doesn't show that.
Right.
So then that's what I'm saying. People will just see that and say, nope, the shadow's going around. That means that it's a 24-hour sun. But if they realize that the shadow changes its length, then the sun must be closer at some points and further at others. But if you're at 90 degrees, that's not how it should be working. Not in December 20th.
And just jumping back to the explorer that supposedly went across, Jaron, you brought up a good point. How would he know which way he's going? Every way would be north. You know, when you're down at the South Pole, every direction is north.
Yeah, unless you had somebody who, and you know, the way I picture Antarctica is like blankets of whiteness, and if you got to the south, and again, remember 90 degrees south by GPS is GPS. They're nowhere near the magnetic South Pole, which would be 1,000 miles in another direction. So they get to where GPS tells them they're at 90 degrees, but then how do you know from there which way to walk? I guess you would just keep going opposite of what you came. I don't know. It just seems weird because when you get to south, everywhere is north. So there is no east or west if you're at the South Pole.
And from what I've seen is it's like they basically do these expeditions from just one of two different access points. Like
absolutely.
If you ever look to see the pole expeditions, they're like, why does nobody ever made the expedition from East Antarctica? And the only suitable explanation is that it's like somebody taking an expedition from Los Angeles to New York, so, but like times 4. It's like, oh, okay, well, nobody would ever do that. But it's like there should be something besides those 2 access points in West Antarctica. It's too fishy.
It is fishy, and that whole way that tail comes out, that little end that comes out by South America, it's just fishy. That's where every single cruise is picked up, where every cruise drops off. It just seems like, again, it comes down to those things where if it were real, if it were an actual continent, then you would have bases all along the outside and all around the edges, and you would have inside places. It just seems weird to me the way it's set up.
I got a name for you, Jaron. I believe the guy's name is Robert Swan. Have you found this guy?
Mm-mm.
He's the Buzz Aldrin of Antarctica. That's my nickname for him. And what he's got these amazing. I promised myself I'd stop using that word. He's got these ridiculous programs where he brings people from small communities around the world, and he shows them, just how terrible the state of Antarctica is in, and what they're doing to clean it up, and how we need to, help our environment. And so these people get this free trip to Antarctica. And Mr. Swan, he's done like TED Talks on this. He shows them how we need to preserve this lost continent that we're losing. And those people go back, and they've seen that little, like you said, that tail. I call it the duck head. They see just that one little access point, and they tell their communities, we're soiling the planet. We're ruining Antarctica. We should feel bad. We should feel guilty. We should send them money. We should support Mr. Swan. And I'm like, that's straight up fraud. If Antarctica is much larger than they're telling us, is they're gatekeeping that entire community, not only into thinking that Antarctica isn't all the way around them, but that they're somehow responsible for destroying Antarctica.
If there's anybody destroying it, it's the research stations that are out there and digging ice cores and trying to go as deep as they can. And to me, it's just definitely something that we all need to be looking into, and we're not allowed to go down there. So there's a problem there.
All right. Does anybody have anything else to say pertaining to convention? I think we've got that sussed. Pertaining to Antarctica, like you wanted to bring up, David. I want to go to Q&A, and David and Jaron, Jesse, if you want to stay, that would be great. If you have to go, just feel free to say bye-bye.
I've got like 10 minutes because I got to get ready for my show.
I've got that thing where I've been holding my arm up for too long, and I'm going to get a cramp. So, thanks, guys.
Okay. Bye. Thank you for being here, Jesse. I'll talk to you later.
Jesse.
All right. So, Matthew Eugene Rosa says, oh no, his thing just disappeared. I'll get to him in a moment. Tedward P. asked the question, what do you guys think about YouTube troll Tim Osmond being outed? We discussed that earlier in the program. There's Matthew Eugene Rosa talking about, as long as, David and Mark and Jaron, you are here, about the show that happens on Sunday. He's calling Hatergate, what we thought about it. And I think we addressed that enough. I don't want to focus on that show. No. Anybody have anything else to say about it?
Trolls aren't going to make any. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the comments, if you look at the comments in that show, I did a response video. Just look at the comments and you'll see people's reactions to it. It's given us some good contrast. And Mark, I've been busting your chops because you agree to everything that's possible, and I admire that. So, I do. So, like, if it's possible, you always say, "Yeah, it's possible." So I'm not busting your chops because.
Oh no,
it's a
no,
bad
I
thing.
get it. No, I'm not
All
going
right.
to shoot it down. Yeah, you know, I mean, if there's an idea that I don't like, you know, I'll say it. But
You know,
so
I
far,
don't.
people.
I don't like the Pac-Man thing, but you know what? It is possible. It's not high on my possibility list.
Oh, you mean that picture? No, I just took that from the internet. I thought that was a
No,
clever.
I'm not talking
No,
about
no,
that.
no.
I'm just talking about the
The concept.
the concept. You know, maybe there's something like that, but I really can't imagine it. I'm not going to rule it out 100%, but I'm going to put it very low on the list.
Oh yeah.
Gravity a lot quicker than I'll believe in the mighty.
Yeah. All right.
Next question. This is from Chris in Love. That's Kris in Love. She's got a really nice YouTube channel. She says that B.O.B. just tweeted today that he's back on his meds. Tila Tequila Part 2, says Chris. Or is he legit and being threatened to put out that tweet? Or it's been a psyop the whole time? Chris says that B.O.B. hit the media too fast, in her opinion. That's interesting. He's saying he's back on his meds, so he's kind of maybe retracting. I'll have to go look at the tweet myself, but I trust Chris. Anybody have a thought on that?
It's part of the mental health agenda, like Sandy Hook and everything
Yeah,
else.
probably.
Where do we get these meds? That's my question.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Ravenlock says, hailing from Guam, hi Patricia and all. With all this mainstream exposure and people wanting to look into Flat Earth, do you think YouTube will execute some type of censorship because the majority of Flat Earth explanations are centered here? I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But some
Exactly.
channels feel it has happened to them. And Jesse would address that some of his view count, he feels, and numbers and thumbs up and thumbs down have been suppressed.
If
David, Jaron, you
Any
feel the
video
same?
of mine that does even remotely well as far as viewership gets immediately demonetized. So I mean, I can see where people might think that that's what's happening, because what it is it discourages me from doing a video like that I just know is going to be knocked down. I mean, if I don't want that to ever be the case. I just want to make videos about the current events, what's the current thing. But the video I put out with Bill Clinton saying that the Pentagon was bombed, it got up to like 50,000 views within a couple days, and then immediately was removed from monetization. And then you can see its count start to. It even seems like it goes faster from there. Just like my the San Bernardino hoax one. As soon as that was removed from monetization, it took off. It's like Google promoted it once. It's kind of weird. It's hard to explain. But I do think they have some sort of, not really censorship, and it's great that I can say whatever I want. I've never had them just remove one of my videos.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
I've never had that happen to me, no. I haven't
you
felt
either,
I've had censorship.
I've had videos removed due to violating some policy, and they don't tell me what it was. The video's gone, and there's no way to appeal it.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had
That's
that happen.
scary.
Not pressing the right buttons.
People have asked me how my channel comes up so high in the lists. Have you guys ever experienced something similar?
Why your channel comes up so high? I mean,
Yeah.
you're getting a lot of views. You're getting a lot of you're linking a lot of people. It's
It says Flat Earth in the
plus
title?
Plus she has Flat Earth in every video title, and her channel has Flat Earth in the name.
Right,
So
right.
it's
Okay.
it-
People
it
have
can't
asked me, and I've been accused of doing, controlling Yahoo and Yahoo and Google.
it's only possible if you were inserted in and paid.
Yes. Yes, it is only possible. So keep that in mind, everyone. Here's another question, and I think people have already kept that in mind. Nicholas Toten says, anyone notice how NDT didn't even answer B.O.B.'s questions that he posted? Just a short, smirky insult with no reply about why Bob can see those tall buildings from 20 miles away. Haha, wow, science. Sorry for asking legitimate questions. Anybody catch that?
Yeah, he could have used way better arguments, and he didn't. He didn't even use what I consider even top 10 arguments.
Right.
He just threw in some real casual stuff. And again, why come back and make your own rap video against a Grammy-nominated rapper? Why even get into that discussion? That demeans a lot of scientists are out there probably saying, maybe not publicly because they don't want to anger the Lord Neil deGrasse Tyson, but they're probably saying themselves that was demeaning to science. to have Neil respond with a rap.
Was that really him doing that rap?
Well, no. The rap was done by his nephew, Stephen. But he, he read. It sounded like he read some of his tweets about regressing 500 years, and they inserted the reading of those into the rap. So, but the actual rap itself was done, I think, by his nephew Stephen.
And really fast too, unless they had that already in the can. They could have had it in the can, waiting for this moment.
Maybe. Yeah.
Neo Omega says, "Hey, Jaren bro, it's Neo Omega, and I've got your back. Peace to you, good sir." So,
all right,
you're getting messages.
Word. And by the way, Patricia's only speculating that it's possible that they had that rap, ready to go. It could have just been written on the fly. It's a possibility.
It's speculating.
Right, thank you. The thing is that anytime you say something, you've got to say it's my theory or I'm speculating. But there's no way we can always remember to do that.
It's a good policy to have. I'm
agree.
trying to be more careful in doing that.
I want to get an audio program where I could just press a button and then it will say that.
A little jingle, a little intro, a little Jaren intro jingle.
Before I speak, every time it'll say, "I'm about to speculate," and then I'll speak.
Yes, exactly. Neo Omega adds, "Hey Mark, love your last upload. Flat Earth media mainstream explosion." And that one is from Your Strange World last night. So Neo Omega.
The return of Jonathan, and it went very well, and we just went back and forth on what might be happening in the mainstream. Now what's happened in the last few days and what's gonna happen down the road.
Yeah, and that's on TFR. I listen.
Hey, you guys want to hear something classic? This is how tired I was the other night. So when I was making my video that said, first it said, "Do you travel 19 million miles a day?" And after I saw in the comments somebody saying, "Where are you getting that math from? Where are you getting that number from?" So I worked it out, and I kept coming out with like 1.7 million miles a day. I'm like, where did I get 19 million from? I couldn't figure out what I was thinking about in my head, and I'm looking at my paper trying to figure out where the math was. And then I see written down 7 billion. So I said, wait a second. So I timed 19 million times 365. I had taken the population of the Earth, which is 7 billion, and divided it by the amount of days in the year of 365 to come out with the speed that the Earth goes a day. So
nice. That's a good one. Yeah.
Wow.
That was nice.
Jaren needs rest.
Yes.
Well, you know what? That's just about as good as what the people who believe in the globe have come up with in the numbers they've given us as to how things work. Just
how many million miles a day does it travel, Jaren? 21?
No.
Yeah.
1.7.
1.7 million miles a day.
Right.
Yeah, 60,000 miles times 24 hours.
66 times.
It's not random. All the numbers work, but I just meant that they've just come up with these numbers. Some of them with satanic or Masonic origins. Let's see. Somebody else writes, the big picture writes, "If anyone in Q&A is having problems buffering, just drag your browser screen in from the left until the video screen goes fully under the Q&A box. This should allow you to see Q&A and hear seamless audio. Thanks, the big picture." Somebody else says, "Is anyone else having bad internet?" Kofo72 says that. So hopefully the show is actually able to be heard and seen. We're not doing anything different. So, Zetetic Rob says, "What are your opinions on the Vendee, VENDEE Globe Antarctica race? Cheers." Anybody know about the Antarctica race? What's going on there?
If that's the sailboat sailboat race, they're not going around the whole thing. You can look it up. Apparently they go in like a horseshoe pattern. So figure that out on a flat map and see where it goes. If that's the one they're talking about.
Yeah, this was a question that if that one happened a while ago, so maybe there's something else happening.
Well, remember it's a sailboat race, so it's gonna take a long time.
It's gonna take a while, but yet. Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody send me a link.
Rob Morrill says horrible internet connection tonight. Oh gosh, sorry.
Well, we all sound good, so
we sound good and look good.
Okay. I can only speak for David. So.
I'm streaming it here, and it's fine. I have another window open.
Good.
As long as YouTube's recording it, who cares?
Now, somebody has said in this comments a comment about somebody else that I don't want to read, and I'm only skipping that because it's a negative comment about somebody else. So people wonder why I skip some comments sometimes. That's why I don't want to be too
positive
negative.
Energy.
Yeah.
Love.
Flat Earth friendship.
Truth and harmony.
This is a person who could potentially be a troll because of the name, but I'll read it anyway. Great show, predictable development of events, and still more confusing than ever. The name is what made me think they might be fooling with us, although the questions go to the statement. Arno Shilson. So, but it is a predictable development of events, and it's still more confusing than ever. So yeah. Even a person with the last name Shilson can be right.
Is it Arno Shills on?
Oh yeah, it is. But why?
By the way, even if
Am I not
Bob,
getting
can I get this out there? By the way,
Arno Shills on. Oh, God, I just got it.
That's like the rapist, no therapist.
Nice.
Well, no,
I'll take
no
the
shills
rapist
are on.
for 100.
No shills are on. Yeah, let's see. We've got another question here. I'm just taking these in order.
Is ridiculous though than Google allowing or YouTube allowing people to open accounts under the same name as someone else?
Yes. Oh yeah, it's
the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
There's really a Jeranism. There's really a Thrive and Survive. There's really a Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. There's really a you fill in the blank, and then they've got the fake names that are similar. Yeah, I don't understand why, and I don't know. I haven't seen any of those around for a while, but sometimes people with those names go into chat on other people's channels or in comments and make a horrible thing, and then comment, and then other people think it's you.
I can't think of any other site in the world that lets you have a sign-on name as the same as somebody else.
I haven't seen anybody doing mine, and I invite people to do it. Just make sure you spell it correctly so people know where to find me.
You know what? It's good publicity, and so I'm fine with all these things. It's annoying, but yet I just look at it as just part of what we do. It's part of what we do. Next question is, hi Patricia, as you know, I think I love you and got kicked off that show last night, okay, for making a joke about how Matt Boylan from NASA has nothing new to add. If I had have been on when you were, I would have stood up for you 100%. In a way, I'm glad I wasn't on. Yeah, there was a show where some people were saying some negative stuff about me last night. And there's Matthew Eugene Rose's question, and I honor your question, but I can't repeat it due to the fact that it talks about some other people negatively, and we've kind of already addressed those people, so Matthew understands how that goes. We've got somebody whose name is Cracking the Globe, and he or she writes, Neil deGrasse Lyson didn't answer Bob's questions, B.O.B.'s questions about why he can't see tall buildings from X miles away. Silly old Neil. And somebody says, Event Skeptic, not just somebody, but Event Skeptic says there is a fake Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole with 300 subs. David, did you know that?
But is it the acronym, or is it actually Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole spelled out?
DIRTH, Event Skeptic wrote. So.
Oh, cool.
No, that's not cool.
No. No, I'm just saying because I don't
from
like
a gaming standpoint, it's cool.
From a gaming standpoint, it's kind of cool.
All right, from a game designer standpoint.
Okay, here is something that I cannot confirm, but we're going to take the word and then do our own investigation from Basketball Brosen, who writes, what do you all make of B.O.B. taking Flatline down from his SoundCloud page?
I
don't know anything about it.
How long did it happen ago?
And there must be internet issues because Bob just texted me and said he's not able to get online to do our show, so I got to address that shortly. But somebody's got
okay.
internet issues across the Great Plains.
I don't think it's us. It could be the takedown of the internet and the start of martial law. This is the end, everybody.
This is it.
Bank holiday tomorrow.
Bank
holiday on Friday. Everybody take your money out of the bank.
Mm-hmm. Get some water. Get some canned food.
I'd like to address the Bob thing real quick. And that is, even if, and after this show's over, I'll dive into it and see what's happening. But even if he did a full-blown retraction, the exposure that he gave the Flat Earth movement was invaluable.
Yeah, even if he's government controlled completely.
Yeah, even if he came back and said, "Oh no, it's a complete hoax," blah blah blah. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, that he didn't do it, and that that's how they're trying to brush off so that nobody else looks at Flat Earth ever again. Sort of like the to a much lesser capacity, the crop circle thing of the '90s, where those two British guys came out and said, "Oh yeah, we did all the crop circles," and then all the the media said, "Oh yeah, these guys." And so when anyone thinks about crop circles, they think that these guys did it. So Bob says it's a hoax. Maybe some people might buy it, maybe not. But there's so many people that looked at it that you're still putting it out there, and you're actually just making the organic growth of the concept grow faster than it would have hadn't you done it.
If I
Yes.
knew nothing about flat Earth and I heard someone on mainstream media going, "Flat Earth is ridiculous," it's been debunked, I'd be like, "What? Didn't we know this? Show me more," and I would dig right in.
Yeah,
Keep
plus
Exactly.
plus all those stories aren't going anywhere. I mean, they're going to be archived forever. So it's going to be all over the place. So are all these all these news media places, are they going to then run retraction stories themselves? Follow the story, and that's what we're going to see is just waves and waves of retractions.
And then there's more flat Earth in the news if that's what happens.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
next question here, a statement, and it comes from Komarusan, and they've got the lion as their logo, and I know I'm probably saying the name wrong. After Rob Skiba commits, meaning commits fully to flat Earth, then Steve Quayle will jump on board, and once he jumps on board, it's over for the globe Earth. Kofo72 says, so is B.O.B. funding some flat Earth experiments now? Plenty that can be done. If he believes in it with his resources, he can make lots of these happen, which is really true. He is a multimillionaire, I'm sure, and doing something for flat Earth, if he really believes in it, would seem a logical step if he were legit.
Well, I just checked, and he did take it down. So
wow. Flatline, yeah.
It's not on SoundCloud anymore, so his song is not
I
available.
listened to it on SoundCloud and made a comment on it last night. So
do a search engine check and then set the filter to the last hour and see if anything's
some
changed.
stuff's happening right now as we're on. Next question while that's being looked at is, when is P.S. me going to interview Jake Blastard? I'm kind of getting tired of flat Earth friendship and would like to see a different point of view, like Jake's, which would be the antithesis of that, although he's not particularly a bad guy. I asked him to be on and then didn't hear from him, and some wires got crossed, and anyway.
He kind of left. Yeah. He kind of left flat Earth for a little while, but now he's back and he's totally pro flat Earth. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
His style is interesting. I love his videos. I'm subscribed to him, and I look forward to his next video.
I even subscribe to him on Twitter.
Yeah.
Just the crossed wires. It was really weird how that went all down. So maybe I'll contact him again. James Hicks Boson. Oh, that one disappeared. James Hicks Boson says there's too much infighting on flat Earth. This must stop, and we must unite. Well, we all wish that would happen.
Working on it.
Check this out. Up from Kofo72, who's like on top of this, the B.O.B. thing is over. He's tweeting he's taken his meds. We had that earlier. We have Colm Rooney says, did Plato believe in the flat Earth? We don't know the answer to that.
I don't know.
Somebody probably knows.
Did he?
And, yeah, well, don't know. PFWYG says, you can make last-minute plans. That works too. I love to be involved if possible, and that is pertaining to a convention. Yes, I bet you can, depending on the location, how booked up they are in advance. Mark Smithson says, a good place for a convention would be on or near the Salt Flats. That's a great idea. That is a great idea.
You'd have to go to Salt Lake City.
Right, right. And there's beautiful nature there, and cabins and
there is
something. The Flat Earth Reality says, Tyson's rap response to all of our Flat Earth music was funny, but it would have been better if it was actually him rapping instead of him endorsing, I think is the word.
Well, there's some things that astrophysicists really can't do. And by that I mean, if you have letters next to your name, there's certain things you don't do. One, you aren't caught dancing in your underwear somewhere. And another thing is you don't rap. You don't do it.
Well, he was in a shower, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Singing in a shower, so if you ever want to find that video.
Just making some comments within the last hour. It's a profound failure of our education system. If people come through it and have the absence of critical thinking skills to leave them susceptible to believing that the Earth could be flat, he said, so I see it as a pure educational problem. He basically said he responded to him because people were sending him messages saying, see what he's doing, we need you, come to our rescue, save the round Earth.
Save the round Earth.
Fine. You want to save the round Earth? Go up to the ISS, take some footage up there, let us look at it.
Show us the curve. Show us the curve.
See what happens up there.
Show us the motion.
Why? I know he's older now. I know he's 60, but why hasn't he gone up to space yet? He's got a free ticket anytime he wants.
It says, Neil says, I wasn't aware of him before. but I plan on buying a couple of his songs. They have a nice beat that kind of get under your skin and make your body start moving with the beat.
Ooh, I don't want to even think of that picture.
The first time Neil's ever heard music, or what?
That's what music does,
Some
Neil.
rhythm to it that makes your body kind of move. Oh, interesting.
Mark Smithson says this: the show Jaron did with Rob Skiba the other night was just an excellent show, very down to earth, and I completely agree. Recommend that one.
And we're doing that again next Monday. He'll be back on for a little bit more in depth of it.
Yeah, more in depth. We were mentioning the VENDEE globe race around Antarctica every 4 years. There are maps on the site. Francois Gabard, probably said that wrong, did it in 78 days. vendeglobe.org from Zetetic Rob. Comorusian says Flat Earth would unite the world regardless of beliefs and religious dogma. Seems like probably that would happen. Comorusian also added that Rob Skiba will eventually commit, and once he commits to Flat Earth, that would be great because he is a heavyweight. Let's see. What else? Stitching Haven says, just saying hi, which is cool. That's always a welcome thing. Hello, Stitching Haven. Comorosian says, any thoughts on all the truth that's being put out on the new X-Files episodes? I've not watched it. Who here's watched it?
I did today.
I saw it. It's great.
Yeah, it's cool. Go ahead, David.
No, I was saying it was great. I mean, they talked about 9/11. They talked about everything that's going on, sticking it right in our faces. But they did. They're saying that aliens are a conspiracy, are a lie. There was one thing I can't remember what it was. That was it seemed very programmed. Maybe it was going into space. I forget.
Yeah. That space was still real, and the moon thing still happened, but aliens were fake.
Yeah.
Robin Post has any speculations on whether another celeb will go Flat Earth? We discussed that earlier. Just wanted to make sure Robin had her question read. Someone's going to come out, I guess, and now with the BOB thing potentially somewhat crumbling. What?
We might have gone backwards already. We might have already lost the
celeb. We may only have Tila. Back to Tila. Let's see. Gregory May says, fun to see the face with Jaron's voice and humor. Yes, it is, Jaron. But you were on my show when I interviewed you a while ago, and a lot of people on that interview were like, that's what Jaron looks like, or he doesn't look anything like I thought he'd look like. Nikki Sanchez says, ever notice you only have to type in flat on YouTube for your show to pop right up first? I guess that might be meant to me. Well, I guess I got it in the title. That's true because, Jaron, you've got Globe Busters, G, and you've got Jaronism, and I guess with Flat Earth in my title, that kind of worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah, I think you're probably the biggest one with Flat Earth in the title.
I put it in there on purpose.
Does it also have to do with your history? Like, if you've watched that show a bunch of times, it's kind of guessing what you're gonna do.
Oh, maybe.
If you're logged in, yes. If you ever want to see an objective point of view, log out.
Yeah, it doesn't come up at the top then as much.
Right.
Tedward P says David Weiss has a really nice kitchen.
I agree.
That's okay. I agree. And David's kitchen and my kitchen, my kitchen's so much similar to David's. It's funny.
That's true, Patricia.
Yeah, exactly. We even have the same water distiller, which is weird, because it's the same one, literally, because we live
same
together.
pipes.
Arno Shilson, I get your name now.
No, you didn't get it right.
Arno, tell me again.
Shilzon.
Arno Shilzon. Okay,
well,
so should I say the name Arno Shilzon?
We've got you, we've got me, Jaron, and Jaron. I think there's 4 shills on.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shill fest. This person says, no shill, but thanks for the laugh. Would it be a good idea to make a map of the Flat Earth personalities showing who is talking to who and who has burned bridges? For us fans. It would actually be very amusing.
That would be a tangled web.
Certainly would. It would be like arrows connecting to arrows and crossed out marks. It would look pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Truth and Light saying, according to NASA, we have gravity on Earth and none on the moon. Having said that, if we went to the moon, what has been NASA's explanation of what kept the astronauts from floating into infinity in outer space while walking on the moon? I think they're heavy
The
boosters.
gravity of the moon.
It's 1/6 gravity. So a 180-pound man would weigh 30 pounds, if you believe that.
Yeah, but why didn't they just float away?
Because they weigh 30
They weigh
pounds.
30 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Which means they actually weigh something. Everything weighs something. And but the bigger question is, if you only weighed 30 pounds, why weren't they taking amazingly huge steps?
Wait, why weren't they moving really fast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And showing off their jumping skills.
How about if you were driving that little cart and you made a hairpin turn, you would flip the car over.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No way
So-
would keep the car running. They've had it running like it's running on Earth.
Yeah.
Grab
'Cause it
a
was.
couple of 45-pound dumbbells, weight plates, and walk and see how slow you walk and how heavy you are. Now, if you weigh 30 pounds, you should be moving very fast, but they show us slow motion because it's what 2001: A Space Odyssey taught us to look for.
And it would have been
Next week-
good if they would have played catch with a football or played catch with a baseball. Think of how it would have floated in the air from person to person. And there's so many things they could have done.
Oh yeah, and one more. Here's one that a viewer pointed out to me, and that was, yeah, I get the legs moving in slow motion, but why is their upper body moving in slow motion? That has nothing to do with anything. That should be moving at normal speed.
Right. It's like it's in soup or something.
Yeah.
I was saying too, Mars is supposed to have 1/3 the gravity, so they have that rover over there. Why can't he just pick up a rock and show us him drop it? It should fall 1/3 of the speed as it does on Earth. But the thing is, they would have to doctor the film, and you can tell when there's people who can detect that now, so they can't fake that. That's why you'll never see it. And that should be simple. They've got people with little controls that can control that robot. Go to NASA and say, "Show me you pick up a rock and drop it on Mars, so we can see it fall at 1/3 speed." They'll never show you because it's fake as shit.
Excellent point.
Rob Morrill says, Young Turks trashed B.O.B. Senk is such a douche. Saying douche just freaked me out. Anyway, why don't you fall off? I guess we can't expect any journalist to do the most basic research.
Good. Remember, that's what the viewers want. The people, all these shows, they do what their viewers want. If the viewers think it's ridiculous, they know it in chat, they see the remarks, that's how they're going to comment. If all the viewers going, "This is the most interesting thing ever, tell me more," then you'd hear a completely different take from these guys.
This is, I guess, interesting. NC Pretty writes, the B.O.B. tweet we mentioned earlier, "Just took my meds," was him just making a joke.
Good.
So, Stock
Hey,
Jockey says,
wait, hold
we
on
have
a second.
convention in Earth, Texas. It's an
Hold
interesting idea.
Getting back to the rover, what is supposedly powering the rover?
A dead battery is what's
It's a
power.
battery, no, and it's got solar panels,
Yeah, but the battery's outlived its life 7 years ago.
but it's still going, right? So let's pretend it's brand new with solar panels, and it's able to transmit back to Earth, right? It's going.
Yeah.
It's not, is there satellites that are relaying it? Where's that technology here? I mean, that's amazing. That a small solar panel with the sun that far away can charge a battery and send a signal. How many miles?
Well, is that any more amazing than the Pluto shots?
Yeah, fully lit in the blackness
Yeah,
of
those
space.
are beautiful Pluto shots, and that thing's
don't have any internet, and yet we're able to send pictures back from 3 billion miles.
yeah. There's dead spots in the GPS, and yet, yeah, we can do anything we want in space.
We can't communicate with the ISS when it's on the dark side of the Earth.
Yeah,
But
and we can't.
There's Wi-Fi in our solar system.
Yeah, it's called space Wi-Fi. That's what I call it.
Space
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. That's
Space
great.
Wi-Fi.
Excellent.
It's with Charter though, so it's a little spotty.
Hey, I'm going to be on a show on Sirius Satellite tomorrow night, and I'm going to just tell them that they're lying and they don't have satellites.
That's going to be
fantastic.
great.
I just lost my headphones.
Hey, just so everybody knows, Bob's not able to get online right now.
Can't
That's
wait
why
for that conversation.
Is
Well,
it-
he could come over and join us. if
Oh, he
he
did.
wants.
Oh, no, you can't get online.
Oh, he can't get online. Oh, at all, not just Glowbusters.
Oh, that's right. That's
Hello?
that martial law is kicking in right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I can actually
this is
smell
a-
the smoke
Get
from
your
the city burning down
get
the
your
street.
tactical gear on again, Mark.
I know
Believe
people
it.
think that's a joke. I mean, that's my actual end of the world tactical gear.
Right. Made for a
I
great
don't have
costume, though.
Speaking of martial law, is there anything to the numerology of 222 and 77? the market's down 222.77. When I see numbers like that, I just wonder what the hell they're telegraphing,
Well,
or it's just a coincidence.
That's 6. 6 and 7 is 13, and 6 and 7 is 13.
All right, it's a
Kinda.
reach. Yeah.
It's a
James
reach.
Angel 2 writes, I'm surprised that Patricia would champion insanity as sanity so much when he's called out Mark to give answers to his Orphan Red meetup via the hand signals, etc., and also given Insanity as Sanity's opinion video that being homosexual is a mental illness. I didn't know that he did the mental illness aspect video. I don't know anything about that. But I do know that since Amir did the video calling Mark out for doing Masonic hand signals with Orphan Red, that Insanity is Sanity, Amir and I have spoke, and also David and I have spoke. We've all spoke together. And David, just speak to what he had said to us, that he was kind of just rethinking what he thought about the hand signals.
Yeah, didn't he say that he just maybe overanalyzed it and it is what it is?
Yeah, he was saying he was thinking about making it a video or apologizing, but just let it go.
He doesn't have to do that.
I don't understand.
And again,
is the point of it all that like people think that if you were to throw these hand signals that others would see it and then become Masons? I'm confused what the whole.
well, no, it's one of
That
those.
you're signaling, that you're telegraphing to other people out there, I'm saying this, but I'm really meaning something else.
It's
that
also. Well, it's also that it's an unwritten conspiracy rule, and that is if you know the basics, the basics of conspiracies, there's certain things you don't do. And one is you don't throw up hand signs if you can help it at all. I mean, you and I, Patricia, we go out of our way not to throw hand signs. So if I inadvertently do it, they're going to call me on it. So because again, if you're the conspiracy world, now if you're not in the conspiracy world, they're going to call you on it regardless. But if you're in the conspiracy world, you should know better. And so because the camera was pulled back, honestly, I didn't even know my hands were in frame when they shot that. But
did you know all
Orphan
the
Red's
hearts were
friend
floating
was
around your
filming?
head?
did I know the what?
The hearts were floating around your head?
No, she
Isn't
didn't
that
tell. I knew she was going to do stuff in post, but she didn't tell me what she was going to do, and that was kind of fun. But anyway, I'm sorry. Real quick back to Amir, and that was, look, I've still got nothing against the guy. I told you guys this in the last discussion panel, and I said, look, it's hypocritical for me to say, yeah, analyze anybody you want out there, but don't analyze me. Because why shouldn't you? Absolutely analyze me and tell me if I'm doing stuff that's really weird. I mean, I've listened to you. I don't hold the globe anymore. I don't hold this, fun little frisbee and
Hey,
stuff.
Mark.
Because what?
You're doing stuff that's really weird. You know what? A lot of people criticize Orphan Red for her ditzy, sexy, crazy. Sometimes when I'm like doing research and that stuff, and I'll come across a new video of hers, it's a refreshing break. It makes me laugh. She's a smart girl playing, a role. She's into theater or whatever it is. Everyone serves a purpose.
I agree, 100%.
Great.
I think
Yeah. I mean,
Awesome.
there has to be some fun in this. For the amount of time that we do it, we'd be really miserable if there wasn't some fun.
Yeah.
One other video I want to talk about real quick is, again, Phuket's World. What is it? Is it Phuket World?
Yes.
I just like
Phuket
to
word.
call it
Phuket Word,
Phuket.
actually.
Phuket Word.
Yeah.
He did one about he had a magnet, and he said, here's how you circumnavigate. He took a compass, went around the magnet, and the east went all the way around, and the west went all the way around the other way. It was beautiful. I mean, it was a perfect example. Again, another video, minute and a half. It was fantastic.
I do want to add that James Angel 2 said the mental illness, homosexuality is a mental illness video is on Amir's channel. So just letting you know about that. People will agree, people will not agree. I'll leave that to the viewer to make their own decision, and I'm sure Amir made it with that in mind. Yeah. Kulm Rooney says, would like to see more Flat Earth models, animations, and videos with Flat Earth experiments, like viewing the ship over the horizon with a telescope and seeing no curvature. Yeah, I mean, we can never get enough of those. Isor says B.O.B. is mind-controlled and doesn't know he is a disinfo puppet, but yeah, Patricia, this whole thing is probably engineered. Paul Hall says, I've noticed that the media is picking the worst theories to talk about.
Well, that's going to happen. But here's the thing.
Right.
That's why, we hope that some of the videos that we have out and if people go looking for it, it's one of those things. And if anybody remembers, and I guess I can kind of remember before I thought flat Earth, and then after, and I know Dave can speak to this too. That once you start looking into it, it all kind of falls from there. And even if we saw wrong things too. I mean, I remember when I first looked into it, I saw the Earth was accelerating up at 9.8 meters per second. That didn't turn me away from it, because you still are looking into it and you still start questioning, why don't we have pictures of, oh great, if we didn't go to the moon, then we didn't go to space. And so I'm all for it. Just get the information out there. I don't care if they're putting out the wrong things. People will look into it, because everyone feels the same way. Like, this just does not feel right.
There's so much good content in the top 50 videos out there when you just do a search on YouTube, that anyone coming into this, they're not going to be steered the wrong way. Yeah, there may be some bumps in the road, but there's so much good stuff.
I may or may not have tagged some recent videos with BOB Flat Earth,
Right, and if he turns out to be the wrong guy, it's just an honest mistake, and I make mistakes all day long. Event Skeptic said about the video about homosexuality, making it is a Myres choice. Fine. And he says about the BOB thing, it opens the door, publicity is what it is. A question pertaining to, I think, you, David. What show will you be on tomorrow night? The Sam Roberts show? Matthew Eugene Rosa wants to know about that.
Sam Roberts from 10 to midnight, or 10:15 to midnight Eastern.
On Seriously Not Satellite Radio.
Seriously ground-based radio.
Can I? That's good. I like that, Jaron. Can I do a quick plug?
Yes, please.
If anyone knows Jimmy Church, will somebody email him, please, and tell him to put that interview he did with me on YouTube or somewhere online where I could get it? Because I did an interview with him like a month ago. And
yeah, people have emailed me and said, "Where's Mark's interview?" And I'm like, "I listened to it live. I don't know where it is."
I'm sure I'll listen to it. It was a good interview.
It was a good interview.
He's a good interviewer, and I still haven't seen it, so I'm waiting to see it. So anyway.
Somebody's asking about that experiment with the feather. It's James Hicks Boson, who says, do any of you believe that the feather and hammer experiment they did on the moon, that they used a weighted feather?
Probably. I mean, if it was in a sound stage, they could have used anything they want. That's not the right question to ask, though. Because it's too small. You're narrow banding it. Everything was fake about the moon missions. So talking about the hammer and the feather, who cares?
Do you remember when Neil Armstrong jumped off the ladder the first time, and then Buzz jumps off it? You remember how high that step was?
Yeah.
First step. I was going to do a video because I've got an interview with Neil, and they asked him how his first step was, and he said, "Well, it was just a normal step, about 6 inches." So I mean, these guys don't even remember what they did. I mean, we all saw it on TV. He had to jump down. And they had to jump back up. It was about 3 feet. But he remembers.
Did you ever? I saw somebody had made a meme, and I haven't confirmed it, but it looked legit. They showed Neil's spacesuit and his boot, and it showed the bottom of the boot, and then it showed the footprint, and they were completely different patterns, different steps. Different. One was Nike, one was Puma.
There's a cover boot that they put on, supposedly. Of course, this is the thing. When you're in charge of the truth, you can say anything after the fact.
Yeah, they're going to have a cover story, a cover boot.
Yeah. Once they
Did they have room in that little thing for cover boots? No, they didn't. Ridiculous.
So I could go on that for hours, days.
That's the most upsetting thing, is that when you're in charge of the truth, like they are, how are you ever going to prove them wrong besides people just being smart enough to realize deception?
I brought this up with Patricia earlier, and you mentioned, or somebody mentioned, supposedly if you get a pinhole, a micrometeor, they would suck, they would kill them in their spacesuit. Jaron, you mentioned that. Well, their spacesuit is flexible. It looks pretty soft. If it's pressurized, how come they didn't look like the Michelin Man? How come they weren't just completely blown up?
Yeah. Would you be driving the lunar rover on the moon at however fast they were going, 25? If you would have fell out or something would have happened, you would have been done. Your life is over because you were jerking around on the moon and falling down. And
you mean the Greenland dune buggy?
Yeah.
The whole.
Hey, Carla.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, Carlos Sharp says, everyone has a purpose, David. What's my purpose?
What's Carlos's purpose?
Who's Carlos?
Carlos Sharp wants to know.
I know who Carlos is.
Yeah, so do I. Subcomandante Carlos, who is now doing videos with Kay together. I guess Carlos's purpose is the same as all of our purposes, getting the word out as much as we can about flat Earth.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I'm hoping that Carlos will one day be able to not be anonymous. I'm because of this thing. If it goes any more mainstream and people start talking about it, then he'll be able to do a great deal. And well, that's just my opinion, though.
Wolf Shield Bentgrass says, "What are each of your thoughts on the Olaf Johnson voyage? There's a dude called Flatwater. Yeah." With a pretty good narration of his voyage. My only beef with Flatwater is that he doesn't have my channel as a recommended channel. Hey, thanks, Wolf Shield. I love Flatwater. I love Glenn. That's who Flatwater is. Anybody know about the Olaf Janssen? Am I saying the name wrong? Johnson.
Is that the North Pole Hollow Earth thing, or is that the Iron Republic thing in the South?
With a name like Olaf. I know what this is. I'm just saying the name wrong. It's not the Jarl. It's not the
No,
Jarl.
not Jarl Yandahoy. No, it's I think it's I think that's the Hollow Earth story. the boat, the small boat. Ask him just to clarify.
Yes, clarify.
I think it's the one where they go up north and they ran out of fresh water, but then the ocean was fresh. They found that the ocean where they were was fresh water again. I was listening to the book, whatever book I was listening to him read, and he does a great job. So
yeah.
Adam Howell says, "Mark, what's your take on British explorer Henry Worsley's recent death? We already addressed that earlier.
Yep.
3 levels of programming, and sad if he actually really did die."
If he died, it's more of
exactly.
It's more of the story. It's more pointing to Antarctica.
Yeah. Right.
It's
yeah.
reinforcing Antarctica.
You can
That's
go
all it's
there,
doing.
not guarded. You'll die, and that kind of thing. And there is
Why
an
can't-
end to it because he was 30 miles from completion.
Was he trying to
Anyway.
do it by himself?
Supposedly.
Oh,
And then he was like 30 miles away from pulling it off, and he got really tired, and then they helicoptered him out, and then he died.
and he called and
We've
said,
got-
"I'm so close. I almost made it."
And he was
got-
endorsed by the Royals, and that's no accident either.
We've got James Angel 2 saying, "Sure, I know it's a mere insanity or sanity's choice. My question is that why Patricia, who seems very liberal and open-minded, would champion the stance that homosexuality champion someone who has that stance that homosexuality is an illness. That would include Morrissey of the Smiths, my record's behind as well. I never champion everybody's ideas. I champion some parts of people's ideas. I don't agree with everything Mark says about the model he presents.
That is so terrible to say. I mean, I like Dave Weiss. It doesn't mean if Dave Weiss goes and makes a video right now that says he has problems with homosexuals, it doesn't mean by default I then am in his corner in that. I mean, let each person speak for themselves. Just because we like somebody's work doesn't mean we back them 100% no matter what they say.
Yeah. That being said, just so you know, I've got one of Amir's videos on my top 24 list,
Right.
because he did a great experiment with the moon, the temperature of the moon rays and the magnification. He put the magnifying glass on. It was great. It was wonderful. Now, if Amir went out and made a whole bunch of videos saying, "Oh, gay people must burn," then I'd have to revisit that. But, again, what Jaren's saying, we have to weigh, what's out there. It's politics. So.
Yeah, it is politics. I like what Amir does. I may not agree with everything Amir does. Amir doesn't agree with everything I do, I'm sure.
Who does?
Yeah, well, nobody.
I mean, I don't put Eric's stuff up anymore on my channel because of his anti-Semitic
too much.
video
Right.
that he made. Yeah, that was way out of bounds. But I will say, it's like, look, if I have to go into a room, on a panel with people, I'd love to have him there. But I still every day is like, look, take down the freaking video. You're going to go a lot further than this thing if you do.
And by too much, you don't just mean the one video, because that would mean Amir's only got one video, so it's not fair. You mean it's too much like the whole way that Eric has been aggressive as well, as mixed in with the thing.
Yeah, that
he has a right to make that video that he did about Hitler completely, because searching for truth is what we're here for. So just like Amir is finding his truth and expressing it, so I'm all for it. As long as we're not mean to each other. Maybe that would be mean to somebody who is gay to see that video, mean to somebody who says their grandfather died in a concentration camp to see the Hitler video, but then we have to look at the larger picture. That's what we're all trying to do.
Yeah.
Flat Earth Reality says flat water, North Pole, and old maps about what is really up there. Yeah. And Master Shepherd says, are any of you aware that DGT's response rap song is a ripoff of Drake's back-to-back song? They even use many of the same lyrics.
Oh, that would explain how they wrote it so fast.
Yeah, it was already there.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Gregory May says that Bob Rapper dude, I didn't know who he was before all this drama, and I still don't. So good riddance if he dropped out.
No, I don't think he's going to drop out.
Lee Belt says he sent.
You can't buy that sort of publicity that he generated.
Exactly.
You don't want to throw that away. Not yet. You're not going to do it 24 hours later. No.
Lee Belt says he messaged Jimmy Church about the interview, Mark.
Yay!
Chris S. says, hey, you guys, great. Someone is going to ask Mark to explain when they shot that ref hand-signed vid with OR. Oh, when they shot? Ask Mark to explain when they shot that sign. Oh, when did you shoot the video with Orphan Red?
Oh, the same night you and I did the show, or the same day. I went straight from that to that room and shot
I knew that
Orphan
that was
Red.
going to happen too. And Orphan Red had been messaging with me that she was taking a drive to
And
California.
I was in the middle of appendicitis when it happened.
But you didn't know you had that appendicitis,
But
right?
but the dying feeling kind of tipped me off to something.
And you made no connection into that. Orphan Red shows up, and then you get appendicitis.
Well, no. I was dying. I was actually not feeling well when I was talking to Patricia as well. And I had 2 interviews before that, so it was a busy day. And it was just getting worse and worse. But so yeah, no, I couldn't get Orphan Red out of there fast enough, to be honest. But I didn't tell her that because I wanted to make a good impression.
And we had to cancel our Monday show. We didn't do a secret show, which this is actually a Monday show that we couldn't even do on Monday due to something else that came up. Yeah. Greetings from Croatia, from Bozidar Durovic. And Teresa Gordon says she predicted Whoopi a few weeks ago. Jaron Zetetic Rob is angry at you because he called you out and you flat out denied lies, and you guys know about what that interpersonal drama is about, and it's not really I read the question because I don't want to skip questions unless we run out of time, but I don't find that to be appropriate to the discussion.
Go to jaronism.com, and I responded on there rather than make a video, but yeah, I mean, there's a million people who have a problem with me, so get used to it.
Line up. Line up and pair up with the people who have
Lies.
problems with me and the people that have problems with Mark and everybody else.
I love everyone.
I lied about planes that don't have windows. I've seen so many blogs. Did I ever say that there's no such thing as a plane with windows that ever lands in Antarctica? No, I said that if you go out there on a science mission, military mission, you are taken in a plane, that it's a cargo plane. You sit in the hull of the plane, and there's no windows. That's what I said, and he has problems with that, and I forgot what else. But I answered it on jaronism.com, so check it out.
All right. And Carlos Sharp comes back to you, David, and says, who is Carlos? Who is David Weiss? LOL.
I didn't know. Now you told me who he was. I remember your interview with him.
Right, you knew him as Subcommandante as opposed to...
Yeah. So he's asking me what his mission is. You know what? I've asked myself what my mission is, and I'm trying to figure it out my whole life. So, Carlos, if you want to ring me, we can talk about it. Maybe we'll figure it out together.
Yeah, I'm compelled by powers beyond me to do what I'm doing, and I think you guys feel the same thing. I don't mean mind-controlled. I just mean I feel that this is very important, and I can offer something. That's why I'm here. Well, we've run out of time. There's a bunch of other questions, but there's no way we'll ever get to it, and we've already done a longer show than we normally do because we had guests, and thanks, Mark, for sticking through. And, Jaron, there will be no Glowbusters tonight?
No, we're going to head over there right now. So,
okay.
Bob,
well, thank you, Jaron.
Show up or not, so we'll see.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, David.
All right.
Thanks,
I'll
everybody.
be over at Glowbusters to listen soon.
Everybody tune in to Glowbusters.
You guys.
Yeah, we will.
Who are you going to call?
Jaron Campanella. All right, David, thank you very much for coming on and doing this. It's been fantastic. Talk to you later. And Mark Sargent, any interviews or things coming up that you've got going?
Let me think.
Doing interviews and interviewing people.
Yeah. I'm just fielding calls at this point. I went through after the Air Force guy and after the show last night. Usually the day after the show, I'm just kind of recouping and trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. I'm going to put the Jimmy Church thing up as soon as I get it. There's 1 or 2 others out there that already been recorded that I'm still trying to get, but they were fairly recent. And other than that, just trying to change the world in a better way and trying to see this thing through to its conclusion, which will be, making civilization a better place for everyone.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. All right. we'll do another secret show this upcoming Monday. That's the usual time when we do this sort of thing. And thanks to all the special guests, we've had over 400 some viewers in the live show, which is pretty cool. And thanks to everybody. And like I always say, keep it flat.